Hello everybody. Oh, flicked the FF thing that I still had under the intro there. Hello everybody, welcome to another video. Let's just ignore that. I'm doing another premiere today. Oh, we've got a whispering game here. Am I going to stream on NA or EU today? Whatever region I'm currently on, which looks like NA. Yeah, hello everybody, welcome to another video. Today's a cool one, special one. Janthir Wilds is back. We have the next patch. So, the patch came out yesterday. My plan originally was to do a patch notes video and sort of run through, you know, just the general stuff that was going on the day, but ended up not doing it. So what I'm going to do is actually roll that into this episode here. It looks, now this is most unfortunate, I've already done one video about this patch, you know, with the announcements they did last week. It looked like it was going to be an incredibly short patch. I said that last week. I said it's a bit disappointing really, because Janthir Wilds was really good. I think it was really good with the side story lore in particular, and what I want is just more bulk, more meat, more to dive into, more time with Guild Wars, more time with Tyria. We obviously get the main release, and then we get, you know, 3 patches. That's it. This quarter, there's one after Christmas, and then there's one at the end of spring. There you go. That's the whole expansion. So I really want all 3 of these patches to count. We did know that this patch wasn't going to have a world map update, like a traditional open world map. But it was instead going to include a raid / convergence, which kind of is its own map. So if we have a look here, by the way, I'm in Dragon's Stand. I'm going to get kicked out in 2 minutes. Yesterday, I played this to get my weekly. I actually, I recorded it because it was going to be the patch note video footage, and I never used it in the end. But I did this for my weekly. I got like 1,000 astral acclaim from 1 Dragon's Stand. Then the patch itself... means that you get 5 gold per Dragon Stand at the moment, because there's a new item that comes from the chest at the end, and it's like a decoration trading mushroom. We'll talk about it in a second when we get to the patch details. But basically, it's really worth doing Dragon Stand this week, guys. You get 5 gold from opening the chest, plus it's all of your weekly in one, essentially. The reason I got my weekly was because I was curious if they were going to do another quest in the Wizard's Vault. You remember we had the Meteorite Spear before? It looks like they actually have as well, so it's pretty exciting. But yeah, we'll run into all that in a second. So, and the reason I rushed that out is because I'm going to get kicked out of the map in 1 minute. I did it yesterday. I just logged in, and I've been idle here for about an hour while I, you know, run around and set things up. And players just came in and bombed through the map. You know, I beat it in like 20 minutes yesterday. And it feels like the team that just did it there did it even quicker. Just crazy. So pretty good time for doing Dragon Stand spam. Get some extra stuff for some Gen 2 Legendary crafting or whatever. Anyway, yeah, so in terms of the new maps, right, there isn't a conventional new map, but there is this section here. We now see a level 80. This is playable. This is what this patch is about. It's about Mount Barrier. I'm completely blind with it. I don't know what it looks like in there. I don't know what happens. I don't know anything. So this will be fun, you know, nice blind playthrough for us to go through. But I'm really happy to see this in particular. And I made this argument early summer when they announced the format for Janthir Wilds. They said that this first patch wasn't going to have an open world map, but it would have the raid / convergence, and I immediately said that's a really good idea. And the reason that I think that's a really good idea is because they've escaped from having to make an open world map for this release, but effectively we still do have new exploration to do. Tyria has still expanded. It's just like how in Season 1 we all look back and we review Season 1, and let me meet the dialogue straight away. Back to Let's Play in this game. We always come back to Season 1 and review it, right? And say, oh, Bloodstone Fen, yeah, that was the map expansion, that was it. But not really, right? You had the entire trinity of Forsaken Thicket releases, which are map expansion, really. And I enjoy it, and I think that the raid stories are some of the most fun story delivery this game offers, as I've said over and over and over again. The Bastion the Penitent, again, another map expansion. This was like one of my all-time favourite patches. I mean, yeah, I'm biased in some ways. It was a story, it was subject material that I really liked. But even regardless of the fact it was subject material I really liked, I thought they did a very good job with this. I thought they did a good job with the Hidden City as well. So I think it's just a brilliant proposal to have a map where they say, okay, no, to have a release where they say no open world map, but there is a raid, because effectively you do get one. And then, of course, they revealed as well that the raid doubles up as the convergence. So even if you're leery or afraid of, you know, engaging content that makes you think and might kick back a little bit, and I say that truly without judgment, all right, because people are engaged on different levels of the game. Sometimes you do just want to sit down and grind mindlessly and stuff. And if you're in that position, hey, you get the convergence as well, the big convergence. So I thought that it was all one and the same. I have heard now, though, again, I'm blind on what we're about to play through. I have heard that this convergence is different to the raid, and there is motivation to do both. I believe I think I read that the convergence is just one boss, but the raid is like 3. So if the convergence is just one boss, it's probably just going to feel like a big... I mean, I don't know. Maybe it'll feel like the Secrets of the Obscure convergence, where you get to, you know, run around in a big area. You know, it was kind of a failing of Secrets of the Obscure that they made the convergence map, but it's not represented on the world map anywhere. You know, it's not so relevant here because this is in another realm, and what I really would have liked is they put it on its own exclusive layer using this stuff here, by the way. You know, it should have been Tyria, upper level, surface, underground, and then there should have been like another realm that you click, and that's where Nyos appears, or whatever other realms we go to. Underworld could have appeared on there. And even, hey, the library and stuff, that would have been quite cool. By the way, I love the idea of Guild Wars had it done completely different updates, where it had been like a sky expansion, like this upper layer where you used to see the clouds really clearly. In fact, can you still a little bit? A little bit. You know, or we'd have a whole underground map, the depths here. This is showing the depths, apparently. But all it does is tweak some very slight details, like here, when we zoom in the taggled depths, we get to see the underwater tunnels. Anyway, so yeah, I think that the way that they've handled this is really good. And it's a big chunky area. Don't forget, this tends to feel small, but if you actually line it up, these are big maps, okay? They feel small because of mounts and content density and stuff. But yeah, there's a lot to explore, and it feels like we get the rest of the island. So yeah, they've also changed a little bit more of the Janthir island, if you see. It's not like jet black obsidian looking anymore. I had this criticism myself of patch 1 of the expansion launch. A lot of us were looking at this area of the world for years and years and years, seeing it as this fucked up, black, desolated looking terrible land, not unlike the volcanic islands of the Fire Island chain, of the Ring of Fire, right? And then we go there and it's mostly just green and trees and grass, and I thought, you know, that was a betrayal of the fantasy we were all looking for all that time. I mean, betrayal is a bit of a heavy word, but you know, I wanted the obsidian shores. What they've done to address that this patch is they've said, well, let's just change the color of it on the world map. So it fits a little bit better now, I guess. I mean, if I was on a character that had never been there, I think you'd see even clearer that it's greener. I don't know. Speaking of the Obsidian Shores thing as well, for what it's worth, you know, they did do black volcanic sand area, you know, beaches and stuff. I think the mistake possible... What is all this? Oh, well, oh my god. Oh, there's a collection for the Urson stuff. And the full moon stuff. And the Serpent's Rat. Oh, this is my Wizard's Vault progress, right? Oh, that's very good. Well done, ArenaNet. That's like what they should have been doing from the start. You know, because of the Black Lion Collection section. In fact, it should have its own section, shouldn't it? Just like Black Lion Collections has its own section. We'll do that. We'll do with that in a second. But yeah, you know, you do get the Black Shores, and I do want to credit that. Maybe it's just that we don't start on the Black Shores. You know, if this is where I'd entered the island, maybe I would have felt the fantasy completely fulfilled. And I know that that's a totally tedious and like almost irrelevant seeming observation, but I don't know. First impressions count for a lot, right? So anyway, yeah, there's no map. And again, here's the final thing, just rolling into this. I applaud the convergence / raid. I believe in story patches without new maps. I do believe in them. However, I think there still needs to be a good number of story instances and chapters. Now, last week I did a video about this news and my disappointment with it, and there were quite a few people in the comments sort of like pushing back against it. But it's because look, the terminology I'm using is very specific here, very Pacific. Oh my god, would you like an espresso? The terminology I'm using here is very, very, very specific. What I want from this patch is a full story release in which there are multiple chapters, like lots of chapters, and at least 2 or 3 instances, okay? So a chapter is like, you know... Oh, we can click anywhere. A chapter is one of these, right? And if we look at, say, Season 3, when... Oh, see, even here, my terminology is not great, right? Because they're all technically under one chapter. But if you look at, say, Season 3... Let's say the crack in the ice. Each of these green ticks is a chapter, effectively, right? So Precocious Aurene, and then the Journey to Bitterfrost Frontier, and then Frozen Night, Ice, Elixir Recipe, Elixir Cooking, the Bitter Cold, Frozen Out. What is that? 7, 8 chapters? And several of these are in an open world map. Several of them have little instances. When I look at this release, this is what I want for this release. I don't care that there's not an open world map, but I want a full release. What they announced on their website, though, was that the whole thing was just 3 chapters. That's it. So let's scroll over to Janthir Wilds now and have a look. So it's under trial and error. And 3 to me is not enough. 3 doesn't even suggest there's any instances. 3, my guess, based on the release last week, is we're gonna have like an introductory cutscene where they say, hi, and then there's gonna be, hey, go do the convergence, and the convergence will be getting the tick. And then there's gonna be a third one where they say, okay, bye. That's my guess about this patch. And that disappoints me, because we only get 3, guys. We only get 3. Now, to a certain extent, they're clearly doing like a building narrative. You know, Waiting Sorrow is not just in this expansion. She was talked about a lot in the previous. Isgarin is in both, and so on, so on, so on. You know, we're still very much in the wizard story. So maybe time is not as limited as I fear it is. But, you know, I just want more. I mean, I'm always going to have that exact same critique. Roll your eyes at it, maybe, but I want more. And so... So that revelation there were only 3 chapters disappointed me. And the way I phrased it in the video was earlier I said, oh, I want at least 3 instances. And then later I said, oh, they've said 3 chapters. And people thought that was one and the same. It's not the same, really, is it? Anyway, you think my game capture's improperly aligned? Is it? How do you mean? Oh, it's slightly too big. You're right. Wow, good eyes. Oh, it's slightly too... Oh, I see. I think I knocked it up. There you go. Nicely spot. Yeah, hello to everybody in the live chat there. Hopefully this is all working, because again, this is the first premiere I've done in a while. It's actually quite easy. I'll probably start. This might be the moment I start doing a lot of premieres. Might be cool. I might wait until the end of the FF14 1.0 stuff. So yeah, for people watching this off in the future, it's kind of cool. I love. Another thing I want to say is I love how quickly this patch has come out. Here's my life since late summer, right? We played Janthir Wilds. Janthir Wilds released. We played it for a month. I have a month's worth of Let's Play there. We finished it all. We did lots of Q&A. We did all the side quests. We did everything. We played it for a month. Since then, all I've done... I mean, we haven't had a break at all. We've just been streaming FF14. And just as I finished my FF14 project, the opening of it, this is back already. So it's been pretty cool, you know. There's been... From my perspective, I was only just playing this. However, I will note, I was talking to a friend in Discord last night about the game, because he's been very slow catching up. He got very burnt out with the Icewood Saga, he got very burnt out with End of Dragons, didn't really play too much, and he's just now getting back into the game, and he's just now catching up. So he's had this, I told him he's had a really good experience, to be honest. Imagine, guys, that you quit at the end of the Icewood Saga. You get all of End of Dragons to play, you have no fucking around or waiting with the Giala Delve patches, and I heard, by the way, that they might not even properly telegraph them to you. And then you get straight into Secrets of the Obscure. You get to go through all of the nice patches, which are okay. If you're not waiting a whole year for the nice patches, they're okay. Straight into this, and now he even gets this patch straight away. And I said to him, look, you're going to have a much better experience of the story having done that than a lot of other people who, you know, what is that? That's like half a decade for a lot of people, you know. And that's a lot of bread for very little butter. But for him, he gets to eat an actual sandwich, you know. Or some toast. Oh, what an analogy. Can you tell that I'm hungry? Yeah, so anyway, he is really into it, and he's just played it, and he was talking to me about stuff, and I was like, oh shit, did that happen? Yeah, so even though it feels like this patch came out very recently, old man brain is a factor here. Early onset dementia is a factor here. I'm a little bit nervous that I might have forgotten certain details. From a Let's Play that we did just a couple of months ago, in all seriousness. So we will see, you know, hopefully the details will come in flooding back to me. But here are the things I'm most interested in about this patch. Ura, obviously. And yeah, there's going to be spoilers for the main story, obviously. Ura, I'm wondering if we meet her, I'm wondering if we see her, I'm wondering how big she is. You know, I like them big. She's got to be the size of a mountain, and then she's got to step on me, crush me like an ant. Let's see how that goes. What else do we want? Dada. This is basically the biggest thing to me. Dada. This long-lost person from Mabon's memory. Dada. The High Inquisitor. Is she in the Hidden City, Bava Nisos? Is she not? I'll try and find her thing. God, it feels like I was just here a second ago. A note is somewhere around here. So is Dada going to be in this patch? Now, I believe this episode starts back at Lion's Arch, maybe? I loved the Lion's Arch patches in this, in the base game. They were awesome, so I'd love more of that. Basically, I wanted a full-length story patch that leveraged these existing 2 maps plus Corteria. There's no reason why that can't be a thing. And I know, and they did it a lot in Season 1, and I know that Season 1 was controversial and, you know, not too exciting a lot of time. It's funny, I watched the comments of that video I did last week very carefully, and there were a couple of people that said, you know, if there's not a map, I don't give a fuck. Like, it's not Guild Wars for me if there's not a map, I think one guy said. And it's funny, you know, my audience, you guys watching this, look, there's an incumbent bias, isn't there? We're all fans of the game on some extent, unless you're just like a bitter hate watcher that needs to get a hobby, right? And you're just watching to see how far Guild Wars will fall. Most of us are fans of the game. So when you do get people saying just straight up, I'm not interested in a patch because it doesn't have an open world map, I think it means something. It means that there's an actual sentiment out there, which is really disappointing because I do believe in them. In just 3 chapters, though, I think 3 chapters isn't going to be enough, and I think it's going to be it's going to be like a confirmation bias thing. People are going to use that to reaffirm their belief that patches without maps don't work. Especially if they're the kind of players that will skip the raid. Speaking of which, yeah, I was thinking I would skip... I do not stream prog. That's something that I don't do for myriad reasons. I'm not interested really in streaming progging this raid wing. Well, by the way, it didn't look very particularly difficultly tuned. It was cleared in a matter of hours, I think. I don't think anyone's going to have anything really to chew on for the hardcore scene until the CMs after Christmas. But I think that was pretty clear even before this all started. Where the hell is the note? I don't know. So, you know, I think I could do a prog stream. And hell, maybe even in a couple of weeks everyone has a bit of expertise and we'll breeze through it. But I don't know. I don't know how I want to handle that. I do at least want to do the convergence, though, and we can obviously all do that together, hopefully. So that could be fun. I completely talked myself off of a certain subject there, didn't I? What was I talking about? Oh, yeah, just stuff I was excited to come up in the patch. More about the Coden in Ore. I'm very excited to hear about that, if that's a thing. More conversation between the Bitterfrost Coden... Sorry, the Bitterfrost. The Arctic Coden and the regular Coden. I would adore that. So the very end of the story had this thing about Mabon. There's the final cutscene versus the final journal is very weird. The cutscene did some things and the journal said others. But what is a commonality between the final instance and the final journal is they had mentioned there might be more to learn about Mabon. Waiting Sorrow basically says, it's not my fault that the Titans are around in Janthir. It's a coincidence that I was near Janthir. Don't blame me. And then she immediately says, we've got to discuss Mabon, though. And then everyone's like, oh, Mabon's dead. And she's like, oh. And then they really... And she should be blamed for that, in part, I will say. And she doesn't get any kind of kickback at all, which aggravated the fuck out of me. So anyway, Mabon's dead, and then in the story journal, they're like, ooh, was Mabon a bad guy after all? What was his real life about? So I'd like to hear a story about that as well. Those are kind of the big topics that I'm really excited about. There is another topic that I'm just interested in for the sake of, like, just playing the game and experiencing some media. No, that's just one of the mines, isn't it? One of the relics. Do you guys have that done? You know, where you got to dismantle like 100 of those fucking things? And that is Isgarin. There was a huge amount of discussion in the Isgarin Let's Play, in the Let's Play about Isgarin. Which is, how are they handling him? To me, in Janthir Wilds, in Secrets of the Obscure, he was a very cold, almost malicious appearing guy. Very big picture, very disconnected from the emotions and the beats of the day, very calculating. And he was really captivating in that space, because Guild Wars doesn't play in that space anywhere as much as I think it should. I like some dispassionate characters that can make quite cruel-looking decisions that are, you know, so to speak, for the greater good, better in the long run. This, like, immortal, ancient entity that is very, very calculating above all. That was my interpretation of the character. In Janthir Wilds, the story is full of all the characters talking shit about him, quipping at him, and calling him an emotional hothead, calling him melodramatic, calling him this, that, and the other things. Things that I neither saw evidence for nor enjoyed as the idea. Oh, that's who you wanted to write? Oh. And it was really disappointing to me. Didn't enjoy it at all. And the end of Janthir Wilds had that horrendous scene where, the sitting bias for Waiting Sorrow versus Isgarin was just outrageous. It really upset me. I didn't like that final emotional beat. I'm more resigned to the fact that ArenaNet will write whatever story they want, and a lot of the times it's not going to align with what I'm looking for, and that's fine. So I will say I'm not interested in where this is going. I'm not excited for where this is going, but I am interested in where this is going. How will they characterize Isgarin? How will they characterize Waiting Sorrow? The actual story they've written about Waiting Sorrow, I think, is brilliant. Okay, no, let me rephrase that. The actual story they've written about the dynamic between Isgarin and Waiting Sorrow, I think, is brilliant, right? Okay, so he ascended her out of his compassion for her, but may have taken her memory away. Oh, what are the ethics of this? And she's gone wandering and she's abandoned everyone. What are the ethics of that? Should we be angry at her? There's a really cool story. But the way they've written it is just to whitewash everything about Waiting Sorrow and to just vilify Isgarin, and that's what really upsets me. I think they wrote something cool, and then they sabotaged their own thing by making it really cartoonish and going in a direction with it that I just don't agree with either, you know. So I'm interested in where they go with that. Aha, I think we finally found it. No, this is Joan's diary. Who the fuck is Joan? This diary's old and weathered. It's dated from Guild Wars 1 times. Oh, this was just one of the people that fled from this place. Oh, yeah. Oh, okay. Actually, there is another big topic. Caducus, and what his guys found, because he had some white mantle, some modern white mantle, that actually seemed to have got to the hidden city. So, will there be more about that? First thing I want to do here is check the achievements. Janthir Wilds. No, it's not in Janthir Wilds as well. Maybe they've updated a couple of things in there. Okay, Godspawn. Okay, there's a few achievements here. Does this include raid stuff as well? Probably spoiling a little bit for myself. I just wanted to get a glimpse of what they're doing there. And now in side stories, let's see, side stories. Wait, no. How did they categorize this again? It was Janthir Wilds side stories, wasn't it? Yes. There's no more of these. These were some of the best bits of the expansion as far as I was concerned. The History Most Violent, Part 1 and 2 in particular. Oh, and I guess as well, last we left off, the Wizard's Tower guys were looking into the Foundry of Failed Creations. They were on an expedition there or whatever to figure out. That's my memory of it. I would like to see if they've expanded on that in any way as well, whether there's a little detail there. There's another thing about this patch. Okay, you're not going to give me an open world. Okay, you're only going to give me 3 story chapters. Fuck. Can you give me some side stories? Was my last thought, and there's no side stories that have appeared. I suppose there could be hidden ones, but let's be real, I doubt that's really a thing. You wish they just made a quest log and quests? Oh, absolutely, yeah. These are not achievements, ArenaNet. They shouldn't be under the achievement panel, should they? There should be a. It should be this. This should be story journal, like main story journal, and there should be another thing for story journal. I mean, there's 1,000 ways they could mock up a UI that works for this. We can all imagine. If we all, literally, any one of you in chat, we could sit down on our own for 3 to 4 hours and mock up some good ideas for this. Well, I don't know. You often see some pretty terrible suggestions on Reddit, right? That are wrong here, there, or everywhere. And I'm not exempt from that. Anyway, so yeah. Before we jump in, let's do the patch notes now, and then we'll play the story. What I would like, guys, is to get 3 or 4 streams out of this. I would love to properly come back to Janthir Wilds for a patch. I'm terrified at the prospect that I'll only get 1 stream. So this is one of the reasons I'm happy to do these patch notes. Look, it's not artificially bloating it, okay? We could do some Q&A as well. I just want to actually have a bit of meat. I want to be able to talk about the game for a bit, you know? I get so many people who are like, oh, WP. First of all, they don't see that I'm doing Guild Wars content because it's buried on the live tab on YouTube, which is annoying as fuck. But, ArenaNet will put some news out and I'll do a video and they'll go, yay, glad to see you doing videos. And I'll be like, I'm doing videos just when they make content. So, I don't want it to be like they make content and I only get 1 video out of it. I'll be here as long as there's stuff to play. So, yes, I'll make it last if I can. I don't know whether we'll get 4 episodes. We might not even get 2, realistically. But yeah, let's run through the patch notes here. There are some interesting things. Sorry to anyone who's already read or experienced this. Hopefully I'll have some chapters for anyone getting to this as like a VOD. Hopefully I'll have some chapters and you can just skip through this bit if you're a bit bored by this. But I think there's a lot of fun things to read here. So first of all, on the patch notes, they have a note at the top about third-party programs. Am I horrendously forgetting this? Because I feel like this is the first time I've seen this sort of patch note. Maybe it happened before. But they're actually directly addressing third-party stuff, which has kind of come forward a little bit recently with Nexus and whatever. So they say, the game may not launch or work properly after we release a new build if you use a third-party program. Due to possible incompatibilities, we can't offer support if one breaks, interferes with, or prevents you playing Guild Wars or Guild Wars 2. Our policy is here. So that's a nice little deal, because I'm guessing they're getting tech support people, and it's because, you know, Arc DPS broke their client or whatever. Godspawn. Greer and Decima narrowly escaped defeat at the commander's hands when Ura, the Titan Imperatrix, finally revealed herself as a threat. Now that Ura's steam wall has disappeared, the commander and their allies must climb to the top of Mount Barrier to chase down and challenge the Titans, uncovering more about their origins and hopefully putting a stop to their noxious territory and blight over the lowlands once and for all. So you remember in the like sulphurous area, yeah, I'll show you guys on the map. There was a giant steam wall here, and we went there and we said, hey guys, this is clearly where the next patch is, and well, look at it. There's a raid entrance there now. Can I just walk up to that without even playing the story? I don't know, how does that work? Hey, we had a donation. Thank you. Ben B, thanks very much, man. Oh my god, that's cool. Just wanted to say thank you for all the Janthir Wilds Let's Plays, and I hope you'll do it for every expansion. Oh, I will. I mean, I've been doing this sort of stuff since End of Dragons, right? I did a blind Elder Dragons LP, and then a blind Secrets of the Obscure LP, and now I'm doing a blind Janthir Wilds LP. The Secrets of the Obscure stuff got a bit iffy in the middle there, though, as we all know. Now that Ura's steam walls disappeared, the commander and their allies must regroup at the top of Mount Barrier, chase down and challenge the Titans, uncovering more about their origins, and hopefully putting a stop to their noxious territory. Right, now, this thing about the Titans, another criticism, I mean, does it count, what should I describe it as? It's not really a criticism if I don't know what I'm talking about yet, right? Because I haven't played it yet, so who the fuck knows? I'm not an authority on this, I haven't played it. But I did express misgivings, let's say, in that video last week about this thing with the Titans as well. In the, you know, we fought them a bunch in the story, and then we fought them a bunch in the open world meta event, and now we'll be fighting them in the Convergence, and we'll be fighting them in the raid, and therefore possibly this story as well. Kind of feels like they made 3 big new boss enemies this expansion, and they're going to reuse the hell out of them. They're really going to get their money's worth out of them. Now, I mentioned that in the YouTube video, and someone had a kind of a smarmy comment where they were like,
oh, Arena announces they're going to do this thing, and then they do it, and WP goes, surprise picture Pikachu face.
Something like that. I don't remember ArenaNet actually announcing that. Did I miss that? Did they communicate last year? Or sorry, in the first half of the year? Did they communicate that there's only going to be 3 enemies and they're going to leverage them over and over and over and over and over again? Look, it's not only 3 enemies. There are other small random things, obviously. We've got the bees and we've got, you know, the conduits, and there are things around the expansion, right? But as far as, like, large bosses are concerned, I don't know whether they had previously confirmed that was their goal. I don't think I ever saw a post about that. I will say it's a smart goal, and I think many of us speculated that was going to be the case before even Janthir Wilds came out. They have limited art budget, they have limited this, whatever. So yeah, if you're going to make a big badass boss, reuse it. Get value out of it. It would suck to have a boss that's buried in just one corner of the game and nobody really gets to see. So I'm not against the reuse. I just think it might be, we'll see once we've played it, it might be slightly over the line. We don't know how much, like, the mechanics iterate and adapt. I do think inherent to having fun with a new boss, it's not just mechanics, alright? It's not just, what do I dodge, what do I cleanse, what do I CC? It is the art as well. That's a part of the thrill in any RPG, not just Guild Wars, any RPG. You know, how a boss looks and feels and moves is... That being special and new and different is integral to having a good boss experience, I think, in a wide variety of RPG formats. So, something is lost if it's like, oh, I'm fighting the same boss, but it's got slight X modifier on it, or it's doing one different thing. I think there is a little bit spoiled there, and it is a bit of a shame. So we'll see how it feels as it goes along. The only note I would say, right, is if this was ArenaNet's plan, we're going to do a couple of bosses. We're going to do some big badass titans, and we're going to justify the budget we're spending on these big badass titans by reusing them, right? That's the plan they're going with. I think what they could have done... Now, I don't know if Ura's in this patch, and I don't know what Ura looks like. I don't know if she's a boss at the top of Mount Barrier or what. I don't know. But I think if that was their game plan, and they knew from the start this would be a good budgetary way to get a lot of value out of something, I think they should have been more dramatic about the difference between Greer and Decima. Because I think that the added sting of this story in this expansion is those two, they're two of the three, and they look very, very, very similar to one another. You know, I remember when I first met Greer, I was like, oh, he looks cool. And then, like, what was it, an hour later, you meet Decima or whatever, 2 hours, 3 hours later. And I didn't really even realize, oh, she looks different. She's not all wooded and rotting. She's got a slight... Like, they do look different. They have different models. And the studio put a lot of work into it. I think there's a whole blog post, actually, about how they have different models and what they were trying to accomplish with them. They are different, but it's not, like, super distinct. And I think if they had just pulled their visual designs apart more, this plan might have worked a bit better. So I don't know. You guys in the chat who've already played it, you can tell me how you're feeling about maybe boss reuse. But yeah. So it's basically all this is to say, it's another patch with the same titans. And hopefully you're cool with that. I don't know. All right, here we got release highlights. There's quite a lot of patch notes here, so... what can we do that's nice background? Instead of being in this rainy, miserable, dank, nasty place, let's go by the lovely, happy place. I love this expansion. I love the way they did two maps, where one's really happy and nice and peaceful, and the other is properly grim. I think it's very cool. Trevenant versus Gigalith? Oh, are they both Pokemon? Wait, is Trevenant a Pokemon? It is, right? It's like an Entei thing from one of the newer gens. Gigalith, is that a Pokemon as well? I think the comparison of Greer to Maokai from League of Legends is pretty good. Speaking of which, Arcane Season 2's out now. I've got to watch that. I was talking to a friend about this, but apparently that's the last season of that story. I'd love them to do another show, except this time it's like, it's the Shadowlands, like Viego's Shadowlands, and they could put Maokai in it. Oh my god, I remember. Okay, right, what do we got here? Release highlights. The first story update is now available. A new Mount Barrier raid with bosses and unique rewards is available. A new convergence is available. A new legendary spear, Clobyan Gear, is available for crafting. After completion of the Barrier Peak... Oh, by the way, I think there was one other post where the devs did like a trailer of how it looks. Again, I was going to put it in the patch note video. I didn't in the end. After completion of the Barrier Peak story chapters, players can speak to an NPC to start their new legendary journey. I mean, I suppose if we want to drag it out, we could make the whole spear, guys. Right? In the Boneyards. A new mastery tier, Adept Handiwork Crafting, has been added. So how's this work? What's the Adept Handiwork Crafting? Let's have a look here, shall we? Oh, there it is. Unlock the ability to use Adept Handiwork crafting recipes and to purchase legendary components from Deft Lahar. So we only went to Journeyman before. So we get Adept now. That's cool. So then it will be Master after that and then Grandmaster after that. So there's a whole new tier of decorations. Actually, I've spied some review of this patch, and I think a lot of people are just very impressed with the amount of decorations. So if you've been in your homestead and you've done a bunch in your homestead, then I think this will be an enjoyable one for you. I have not. I haven't decorated once since, and I know we ended the last part. I said I would go decorate. I haven't decorated for a second. Like, I've not even loaded in there. So my place is still just filled with balloons. Oh, no, I have actually. I did a video. And I made the background footage for the video, me decorating with balloons. That technically wasn't in the Let's Play, was it? Yeah, so my place is full of balloons. So yeah, new decorations can be learned. It's funny how that's a different patch note, even though it's essentially the... Well, it's not really the same as the Mastery track, is it? 6 relics, and they will go into those in the notes in a second here. Woad armor can now be purchased in the Lowland Shore. Is that another heart? Renown heart gear set? Updates have been made to the map rewards. New utility stations are available for crafting. And quality of life improvements have been made to World vs. World. So there's actually a huge reward update in this patch. It's funny, I look back in Season 1 and like whenever there was a big reward update, it was like such huge news. We'll see how huge of news this seems to you guys, but there's a lot of reward updates. Just like I mentioned, that 5 gold you can get from players now, with the decorations that have been added to various meta events. And I think decorations being added to meta events is a brilliant idea as well. I'm really happy with that. That was one of the things I wanted them to do. I actually, and again, this is from me playing Fallout 76 earlier in the year. In that game, when you do events, they have a chance to drop decorations, and it feels brilliant. And Guild Wars has a whole world of events. Look at all this content that they could just plug random things into, make it all evergreen. It would be the best. So far they've had, well, we'll see what ones they've done it to, but it's like Hero's Choice chests usually. It's not a chance, it's just guaranteed. Which hopefully doesn't mean these economies will fall apart in mere moments. And you'll see when we look at the Path of Fire ones, they've kind of just bundled them all together, which I think is kind of a bad idea, but anyway. Mooncamp Covert in Lowland Shore now has a charging station. Oh yeah, this is crazy. So, how do we feel about this? Alright, I'll do it now. If you played End of Dragons, you got some masteries for the robots. Where is it? It's over there, I can see it. So, with the robots, you can grab batteries and then you can run to charging stations and you can power yourself up so that as soon as you enter combat, you get a fuck ton of boons. You can get basically every boon in the game. I think Stab isn't on the list. Maybe Aegis isn't. Maybe Aegis is, actually. So the game is, in End of Dragons, you have to find a battery, then find a charging station, then find more batteries, then find more charging stations, and it builds and builds and builds. And it's within End of Dragons. As soon as you leave End of Dragons, that's it. It goes away, right? That was the game, and you needed a mastery too. And when End of Dragons was new, not everyone had the mastery. So it was a huge reward. It's a reward. Getting all the boons in the game, basically invalidating buildcraft. It's mental. It's insane. But there were these caveats to it. Then a few months after End of Dragons, they said, oh, no, don't worry about it. You can do it anywhere now. So you can just go to End of Dragons, charge up, and even take it out of End of Dragons now. And now you can have every boon in the game on any build you like, as long as you're in the open world. Oh, does it even come into story instances? It doesn't go into raids, obviously, what you might call more structured play. But it invalidates, like, a huge... I don't know, man. If you like the idea of buildcraft in the open world, it's dead since End of Dragons. Or it wasn't dead, but then they did that patch where they let you take it everywhere, which is just like... Oh my god, you're trying to add all these relics and new buildcraft options and fun things for people, but at the same time, doing shit like this, it's mad. That patch was insane to me. It broke my brain that they did that. But no, they doubled down and they were like, yeah, this is what we want to do. Go on, have fun. But it was like still this weird thing where it's like, okay, it's still a bit obnoxious. You have to go to End of Dragons and find a battery and charge up and then, you know, do it multiple times to get to the 2-hour cap. And then go do the adventure you want to do. And just that little stepping stone into it meant a lot of players didn't do it or forgot about it. And indeed, in my Janthir Wilds playthrough, I wasn't doing it. So that's all well and good, I guess, except that everyone basically knows that you can go to a single easy place in EOD. Let's use the Janthir button here. You can literally just load in and go to either of the labs, the North Lab or the South Lab, and they have infinite batteries there for you and both charging stations there for you. So it wasn't much of a stepping stone if you had this, like, knowledge to go here, which I guess is a stepping stone all on its own. Still, though, it felt really weird to me. And now look at this. Here's what they... We get a charging station for infinite batteries. 4 batteries straight away, and we can just infinitely do that. And we get the charging protocols right next to it in the map. This is mental, guys. Okay, so there's different ways you can look at this. You could say this is the best thing ever. Oh my god, I'm so excited. Wow, because power creep is fun. And power creep is fun if you don't care that much about the game. The convenience. QOL, the convenience. Isn't it the best thing in the world? I mean, this is just... Look, I just need to accept that this is what Guild Wars is. It's QOL above all. So, yeah, why give a fuck about the runes you're running? Why give a fuck about a bunch of the trait lines in the game? Why give a fuck about a bunch of the utility skills in the game? Why give a fuck about a bunch of the relics that are in the game? It doesn't matter, man. Just run these. For 90% of the player base, for 90% of the content. And then, when you finally transition into fractals or into raids, you know, enjoy the brick wall of suddenly a bunch of stuff that wasn't relevant before, now is relevant. You guys have fun with that brick wall, you know. Easing people into this stuff, that's not good design. Well, open world should be a totally different experience. And it's like, you might say, oh, WP, you're overreacting. Maybe I am. Because at the end of the day, this is just a reward for people who have End of Dragons. I don't know. I don't know about this, man. Anyway. So, yeah. Here's the worst thing about this, by the way. I don't know. Did they do this at the Wizard's Tower last year? I assume they did, and this is just a continuation. Isn't it only one stack at this point? No. You can keep stacking it until it's got like 3 hours of duration. So this entire episode, I'll have these here. And if I run out, I'll just go back. So, yeah, I mean, it'll be pretty good, I guess. We can blow things up. I feel like I got way too ranty and whiny about it. But look, I don't understand this very much. But there you go. Make sure you grab those. You got to get people to buy those old X-Packs somehow. See, I don't know whether it's that cynical on their part. But, yeah, I disagree. Maybe you guys like it. There you go. Anyway, so yeah, charging stations. And maybe we can look forward to those in all the mini X-Packs, you know? Some of these I'll just gloss over. I just want to in general say, though, I'm really impressed with this list, and I think it's really badass. Again, I say this on every patch note video I ever make. I love seeing random changes to just old shit. Again, it's this whole evergreen thing for me. It gives me a sense that there are new players there, that they do get reports about it, they do have QA still looking at it. There are large swathes of Guild Wars 2 that I love desperately, and I just feel like they're dead and there's no reason to ever go to them and stuff like that. But then I get patch notes like this, and it's really refreshing to me, because it's like, you know what, they are there. They are being, you know, traveled to and whatever. So just look at this huge list. Look at the diaspora of different eras of the game that have been hit here. Ready? So they increase Renowned Heart progress at that horrible heart at the start of this expansion. Fair enough. They fixed an issue with the Oni spawning around Giala or whatever, around Janthir, where they get interrupted and they can't attack. So cool, an End of Dragons update. They fixed an issue about stopping the enraged Jotun at the Bear Shrine. That's the start of core. That's like level 3 Wayfarer, right? And all that's fairly new content, so you might expect patch notes. Or very early game content, so you might expect patch notes. But look at this. Fixed an issue that allowed players to complete certain hero challenges they'd already completed. Fixed an issue with the Metrica Province Golem Thorman Overreactor meta event with the Clean Golem. Fixed an issue with a Wyvern event in Siren's Landing where you couldn't glide. I think I've actually been hit with that in the past. Fixed an issue with the White Mantle in Lake Doric. Like, look at this. Who's in Lake Doric at the moment? Amazing. So we got that. Got to remember which slide I'm on here. Players can now use handiwork benches in other players' homesteads. One of the rewards from End of Dragons, the like Jade backpack, it was called the Hippocampus. It's now called the Philopteryx, which is what it was always meant to be, I think, because it's like a Jade dragon in there. It's not a seahorse, it's like a dragon, so they've renamed it. The icon for the Lowland Expertise effect obtained from Renowned Heart vendors in Janthir region has been updated. I'm not sure what that looks like. I guess we'll see that in a minute in-game. Fixed lighting issues in some player face options. Don't know what that means. Someone told me on Discord, though, a couple of hours ago, that a bunch of the faces from the Chinese client have been added. What? That's amazing as well. Oh, my God. I talked about that how many years ago? Holy fuck. So, yeah, they've integrated a bunch of those. That's awesome. New character creation options, by the way. They used to dot in, like with different expansions or different Living World releases, there would be new character faces. I always thought that they were brilliant things to put in patches. Anything that encourages people to make new characters, again, the whole evergreen thing, which kind of flies in the face of a lot of Guild Wars. Making new characters? Oh no, that's the big no-no, right? But it is a big part of playing an RPG and having the game. And new customization options was always good. I mean, there's total makeover kits and stuff that kind of invalidate it for the veterans. But regardless, they never really put it front and center. And in fact, that thing about the Chinese faces, I've only heard on Discord. It might be wrong. It's certainly not in the patch notes anywhere. And it's a cool thing if it's true, but they didn't even put it in the patch notes. Pretty mental though, really. Item collections got updated, you know, recently-ish, and some of the items were still referencing the old currencies. Now they reference the Tales of Dungeon Delving, which is the global currency. Creator Z no longer offers items for sale. That's the guy in Bloodtide Coast at the Chantry of Secrets, the Order of Whispers. You know, there's a heart in a cave, right? It's really near the entrance to Lion's Arch. And you could press F on him, and he would just give you his... That's like a vanilla bug. That's like a 2012 bug. 12 years later, they've managed to fix that. How cool is that? The Dungeon Historian in Lion's Arch now lists dungeon information in the correct order. Fix an issue in the Battle for Lion's Arch that made players guided to the wrong place if you failed an objective. Fix an issue in one of the Norn stories, I think, where you could get stuck. Oh, sorry, no, that's not a Norn thing because there's a special action. Not sure what that one is. Anyway, if you're in Death Shroud, it kind of broke it. Fix an issue for Ceremony Survivor. As I say, I'll gloss over some of these. Look at this one, Lion's Arch, Troll's Revenge and Troll's End. You know, Troll's Revenge is the one over in the K. Oh no, Troll's Revenge is the one in New LA. Troll's End is the one in Old LA. They didn't both give credit if you did them both on the same day. Who's doing that? Who's using their Memory of Old Lion's Arch key to go to do Troll's End and then doing Troll's Revenge on the same day and realizing that that's crazy, and they fixed it. I wonder how active old Memory of Lion's Arch is now at this point. My gut says it's not very active, and all the bitches like me that whined and whined and whined about old LA for years, they've got it now, but they're not even really using it. And I like to imagine like a dev at ArenaNet who has those stats that gets to be miserly about it. Like, oh, you fucking nerds, why have you whined about this for years and now none of you are even using it? You know, or maybe they could be more adjusted. Fix the memory of connecting the pieces. Story chapter that caused quest markers for Timey's golems to persist. The Mega Destroyer had its nameplate updated to Legendary. Oh no, it probably got updated to Epic actually, didn't it? It was probably already Legendary. I don't know, or maybe it wasn't. Well, there you go. Some world polish. Love it. The Wizards Vault got a bunch of updates. The season is over. So there's some new objective, and they'll be coming in over the course of the season. I like this. I think ArenaNet shouldn't be scared to mess with the objectives and do ones with a little bit more grit to them. I think that's a good idea. Who knows what they've got in store for us? They don't say. But one of the old objectives from when it first released last year, defeat 10 enemies under a nourishment or an enhancement, they've been affected. They've been updated to award their progress even if you only get an assist, and they've been returned to the roster. This one blows my mind. This patch note, man. They're asking for 10 kills. 10 kills! It's nothing! It's nothing! You can't argue, oh, but new players 10... No! No. The power creep that exists in core at this point is off the charts. Even as a totally new player, with nothing but a couple of buttons that have been power crept and an incoherent build, 10 kills is nothing. No matter what phase you are in the game, 10 kills is nothing. It is genuinely like 20 seconds. And it overlaps as well. It's not like you have to dedicate yourself to 10 kills. You do anything else in the game and you'll get those 10 kills. Does it really matter if you didn't get... if assists weren't proccing? Is that something that happened last year? You know, people, it came out, it was an objective, and people got mad that their 10 kills, one of their 10 kills, or two of their, or even all 10 of their 10 kills, didn't credit because, oh, sorry, I only gave boons and healed instead of actually using a single auto attack on these mobs. Does it matter? I don't think that ever mattered. It's such a low bar. But are we really... is that what happened? ArenaNet took it away in order to update it, and now they're happy to bring it back? It's just... I feel like Will Farrell in Zoolander, when finally he cracks and he reveals that he doesn't understand what the big deal about blue steel is. I feel like I'm taking crazy pills. I don't know why this matters. Maybe they're planning on adjusting the numbers later, or... I just don't know. Let me know what you think. Fix an issue that prevented some Crystal Oasis bounty. You know, that to me is the epitome of wasting time on things that look important but are not. Anyway, fix an issue preventing some Crystal Oasis bounties from awarding progress. Inventory updates. Now, there's a lot of cool stuff here. Ascended armor and weapon chests available from the Wizard's Vault have been renamed to the Wizard's Ascended Armor or the Wizard's Ascended Weapon. And look, what happens now when you double-click them is you just pick, instead of picking a box, you pick the attributes straight up, which is much better flow. Brilliant. 10 out of 10. Love it. And they've increased the range of attribute prefixes that you can pick to hopefully include some of the trickier, more annoying ones. The legendary starter kits have also been tweaked slightly. You can basically pick if you want the Gift of Might or the Gift of Magic. And now they offer a key, beginning with a 6 set, and the key lets you travel to the Mist's Vault, which is a special reliquary of the vault, and you redeem the key for your choice of legendary starter kit. So I'd been collecting starter kits in the previous seasons. It was one of the only things I was doing. Now I guess I don't really need to do that because you can get them from the vault. But I guess the 4 that are available in there. I mean, I want to go there. Is that the legendary thing? Is this the special? I heard there was a new zone from the Wizard's Vault. It must be that, right? Should we go there? I have 1,000. I could buy the kit. Should we go and see? Let me just check. I'm reading chat here. Is this the new zone, right? The key. Double-click to enter the Mist Vault and choose from starter kits for 4 weapons. Kamahali, Kataki, Twilight, Kudzu, or Howler. Go to the vault. It's good. All right, let's check it out. What else have they got here, by the way? Dog bench chair? Oh, nice. I like the paw on the chair and everything. Alabaster spider stuff. Is this just recolored onyx spider or whatever it was before? We got the rock coats. Oh, rock coat stuff came in with the last season, right? I guess we can finish it now. We can finish our rot coat. There's an enchanted warclaw mount. Not bad. Okay, people are saying, yeah, do it. All right. So, yeah, this is why it's very good that I did my weekly yesterday in one dragon stand. All right, item is being sent to my inventory. By the way, guys, are you impressed? Just stop. Anyone who's second monitoring this right now, just have a look at this. Isn't that beautiful? Nice, clean inventory. No, the top doesn't count because that's, you know, that is clean. That's my account-bound stuff. Unbelievable, isn't it? That I cleaned it all out. You know, I once did like an hour-long tutorial on how to clean your inventory. And there I am always with a messy inventory. And here I've done this specifically for you guys. I've cleaned this for you. Let's just not scroll down. Yeah. This is, you know when you're a kid and you just hide your shit under the bed? Yeah. So let's just stay scrolled up. Sorry, guys. Yeah, I'm lying. I'm a stinky liar. Is my bank a mess? No, my bank is actually clean. Holy shit, what is this? Holy shit. I wasn't expecting this. I was just expecting it to be a room. Whoa, this is cool. I've got an empty bag slot too. Yeah, I know, the level 80 boost. They changed the icon on this, actually, the level 80 boost package, didn't they? Holy fuck. Oh, see, this is the kind of... Guild Wars should always do stuff like this. Oh, my God. What's the music in here, by the way? Should we turn it... I can't really hear it very loudly at the moment. Let's turn it up for you guys as well. Let's max that out. There might be dialogue in here, and I definitely want to hear it if there is. This is crazy. This is a little bit like our own version of the Mystic Forge, right? I mean, it's given us legendaries and everything. What does Zomaros think of this place? Wow, Grandmaster Craftsman's Hobbs is in here? Oh, come on. You're not going to give him some new dialogue. Why? How are you here? Alright, well... Okay, Overseer Zayak. It's an honor, Wayfinder. Shall I have the attendant summon a particular treasure from the vault? Sure. Okay, yeah, so I can pick what set, right? Show me a legendary starter kit, set 6. Oh, shit. This is cool. This reminds me a little bit of the Dagda Arena as well, actually, you know? In fact, it's just like the Dagda Arena, except it's like animated and activated and moving, right? Aren't those just stalled and stopped? Whoa. Oh, and we get to see... Oh, we get a manifestation of ourselves wielding the legendary. Jesus. Twilight, the legendary greatsword. Your profession cannot equip this weapon. Can you show me the ready pose again? Oh, this will be the unsheath effect, right? Oh my god! Could you walk around to show me it in motion? Yeah, show me those footsteps. Oh, that is cool. Very impressed. Oh, and she's just called Twilight. If I change my clothes while I'm in here, will they all update, do you guys think? No, they didn't. I guess we're a Verdant Explorer this time. So this is Kamahali Kataki. Well, hold on. Can we simulate attacking something? Because, you know, what if I want to see projectiles? What if I want to see it on crit effects? Like, this has the shark on crit effect. Show me the items I need to complete this weapon. Apparently, I've already done them because I'm a nerd that's played too much of this game. Same with this one. Are there any of these that I haven't done? I haven't done all the legendary collections. Apparently, I've done all of these ones. So they've doubled this up as like a thing to pick your. Aha! Look, and so we spend the key on the kit, so I won't be able to get back. I don't really know what I want to pick there. I guess Kamahali Kataki might still have some money in it. I'm not sure. Weird. As ever, I want a little bit of a lore about it. I want to know a bit more about who made this or how this works. Compare it to the Mystic Forge for me. There's a vault attendant there. Before I leave, we haven't missed anything, have we, guys? Just let me know if you feel that I have. And what I'll do as well here is we'll go to enable first-person camera. And I'll just look at this. This can be our view as we do the patch notes, right? Wow, Celestial patch. Check to the left. There is a lore NPC on the stairs. Oh! What, this guy? No. On the stairs. We can't mount in it. Oh, you're right, there is someone. Field Archivist Cierly. I feel like I recognise her name. Hello. She's sitting on the bench. Commander, how nice to see you. Welcome to the Mist Vault, the innermost or perhaps outermost storage of the Wizard's Vault. So we don't know which. Can you tell me where we are? Most treasures that the Wizard's Vault safeguards are held within the tower. For those with a certain prominence, danger, or conceptual risk, the Wizards divide this alternative tucked in the mists. I see. So this is like a fractal? Very astute. Yes, much in the same as a simulated fractal. However, we're not recreating anything, simply maintaining a small pocket of order amidst chaos. It's an elegantly secure method. Oh, I love that. Because of course they have the mastery to do that after their other fractal experiments. Is this place more secure than the Wizard's Tower? She says, in its way, the roads are tightly defined, which makes intrusion all but impossible. And if it were to come to it, simply releasing the ongoing sorceries of this location would bring it to an end. What, including the stuff from it? An end? Without spells, observation, and fuel, such a small space can't stay established. It would quickly dissolve into a ripple in the mist, taking dangerous artifacts and potential intruders with it. Interesting. Did we just get a little bit of detail about how fractals are stable? They need observation. You know, it wouldn't surprise me if buried in the fractal storyline with Dessa that's basically already been clarified. I love that description of it though. It's like the double slit experiment, right? The act of observing the thing kind of changes its nature. God, for anyone, I've probably described that in a very cringy way and wrong way. I can't be out and about all the time. This spot is quite relaxing. Call it a perk of the job. Yeah, where have I met you before? I agree, I'm on business, but can I drop in occasionally? Normally no, but as a legendary defender of the tower, you're already on the guest list. Here, a passkey spell, courtesy of the wizards themselves. Okay, so this is an exotic access key. It will just let me in whenever I want. This legendary key will let me buy whatever I want, and it will go away. So I could make a purchase, it would just get rid of the legendary key, and then next season I'd buy another one for 1,000. She has new hair, does she? Maybe. Looks like something out of the 70s, you know. Alright, well there you go. Cool, let's keep going with the patch notes. That's brilliant, guys. Let me know if I've missed anything. Hopefully I haven't. This thing up here is really cool. Lovely, I love that. That's so cool. They should do as much of this kind of stuff as possible. All right, what else we got on the world polish here? Oh, sorry, not world polish. We already looked at this, didn't we? We were in the Wizard's Vault section. Okay, yeah. So the key, the Wizard's Vault. Okay, we've done that. Now, the Wizard's Vault does have another little bit here. New rewards. We've just looked at these. Woodland Code and Boots, Sea Glass. Oh no, these are just rewards across the whole patch, sorry. Woodland Code and Boots, Sea Glass Wave Weapon Set, Mini Rot Strider, Mini Sentient Conduit, Mini Vent Shot. Who is Vent Shot? That link's blue. I never clicked it. Grizz Blighted Touch Backpiece, Glider Combo, Decimer's Gloves, Blood Moon Weapon Set, Minis, an Endless Mystery Bearkin Combat Tonic. Again, ArenaNet combat tonics are amazing. They are amazing. Please do an update, though, where they persist through loading screens. Or even if that has to be a hacky workaround where it's like a toggle that it will auto-drink after a loading screen. I mean, between maps. They will work from, like, waypoint to waypoint with loading screens within the same instance. But yeah, and mounts. Mounts are the big thing. We have to be able to wear these on mounts for this to work. Combat tonics were just coming in with Season 3. They were just finding their foothold. They were just a really cool reward piece. And then mounts came in immediately after. You know, we had such a small thing, and they kind of died with that. Combat mounts are some of the best things they can ever add to the game. They can put them behind really, really difficult and interesting challenging games. They can codify them. There can be rare ones, exotic ones, ascended ones, legendary combat mounts. They really can. They're fucking awesome. There's got to be a bit of an update to their QOL, though. Especially in a world where we're not doing formal new races, you know? If you can't add the Tengu, do it as a combat tonic. Anyway, so I want to be excited about that. I'm not that excited. So, increases the... So reward updates. This is just mental, guys. They've done so much. This is the sort of big reward thing. They increase the amount of Ursus Obliges, Janthir gearboxes, unidentified rare gear, Thimbles of Karma. Just anything you're doing in Janthir, you get a lot more now. Charged Titan Ore, Honey Flowers, Pine Logs, Amber are now available from the reward chests, the Renown chests. Following items can now be obtained from Hero's Choice chests. So if you do the Verdant Brink meta, you get Jungle Grass Seed. If you do Auric Basin, you get a Coastal Lumber Core. If you do Tangled Depths, you get a Palm Lumber Core. If you do Dragon Stand, you get the Giant Mushroom Spore. These items, I believe, already existed. Through my time scribing and getting decorations from the Guildhall, they already existed, but they were very, very, very low drop rates, very rare. Now you can just grab them. And of course, they're good for decorating not just the guild halls, but people's home instances as well now. And that Giant Mushroom Spore from doing Dragon Stand is worth 5 gold. Nearly 6 gold, actually, right now as I speak. In fact, I've given you my joke about my inventory here. So, let's see. If I type Spore, there it is. Sell at the trading post. The price is... Oh, so current buyers are buying for 5 gold. You can sell it for 6 gold and a bunch of silver. And Dragon Stand is happening at the moment because, again, it's a big part of the weekly. So, well worth checking out. If you're looking for an excuse to play, something to do. And it will get you your 1,000 Astral Acclaim as well for a Legendary Starter Kit. Not bad, if I do say so myself. So yeah, that's another part of the reward update. Then they also did shit for POF, right? So for POF here, it says the Crystal Oasis, the Ellen Riverlands, the Desolation, and the Vabi meta. All of them give you a rare flower seed. And I'm disappointed by that. I think each meta should have its own decoration. And instead of bundling these together, they could have just put the rare flower seed in Vabi. Maybe it's most fitting there. I don't know. Not really, since the metas aren't very flowery, are they? But whatever. They could have put it in one of them. And then, you know, just keep filtering them in more patches. Or maybe I ask too much. Rift excavations obtained from weeklies are now award 2 renown tokens instead of 1. Or just instead of 0, actually, maybe, the way I'm reading that. Then there's new utility crafting stations. There's bountiful maintenance oil, demon slaying, Karka toughness. Karka toughness is amazing to me. That's just 200 toughness flat. I haven't used that for ages. I have a video about it. Magnanimous maintenance oil, magnanimous tuning crystal, and toxic tuning crystal. So hopefully there's some stuff that some people like in some metas, and you know, someone can place that table down for you. An essence exchange vendor is available at Moon Camp, offering the new Woad armor boxes. So that's where we get that, actually. I could go have a look at that. Should we go have a look at that? Moon Camp Covert. Let's see what that's like. of ways, this is so much easier and more fun than making a video, a patch note video. In an actual patch note video, the way that I would do this is I would read that in the patch notes, and I would have to make a mental note. Once I'm done with this, I have to go in game, find the thing, preview the thing so it's there in the footage. And it feels kind of like a chore, you know? But doing it this way all at once, it's like, I'm just excitedly looking around at it, you know? And we're sharing it right here and there. Streaming's so much easier than video making, it's unreal. So where might he be? Is he this new icon? The Rift Essence Exchanges? I think probably, right? We might not buy it, but we can at least preview it. Oh, WOD is the PvP World versus World set. Oh, he's moving. Wayfinder, Commander, Snaf Savant, Liss. That's great, look. Oh my god. It's affected by my race. Would you like being called? Anyway, if you happen to run into any Rift Essence, I'll be happy to take some off your hand. I love this, that they're really embracing this thing where we just have a bunch of names. We can say, wow, that's quality armor. That's amazing. Oh, we can even ask him about the Jade Tech. Was it here? Thanks to June, she donated a grand haul of Jade Tech to Moon Camp and the Tyrian Alliance. If you have the proper mastery and training, you should be able to use this. Okay. Not right now, thanks, mate. All your theories be sound. Don't take forever. You're not here for long. Wow. Sudden real advice there. Okay. He just says, why, thank you. By my ears. I do have spare Rift Essences. Oh, my God. Even these are updated based on the race. Okay, so with an amalgamated Rift Essence, I can buy WOD leggings, gloves, coat, shoulders, headgear. Are you telling me that these are on PvP reward tracks as well? Conversions. Contains an amalgamated Rift Essence and a Mystic Clover. And that's from a Purified Essence and a Philosopher's Stone. And we can get Philosopher's Stones here at the same place. That's a nice little bit of QOL there too. This is very thoughtful, isn't it? So the WOD Light Helm. Oh shit, I love it already. I didn't expect to go into like this. Oh, but I can't preview without my awful dyes. The dyes are going to make it look terrible, and I do apologize in advance. It's so hard to like a skin on Asura. Alright, well, the dyes have ruined it a bit. But I kind of think it's alright, actually. Not bad. We'll probably be swapping characters soon, by the way. There's a whole conversation about that to have as well. Jesus. Well, there you go. There's that little bit of the patch notes. I guess we're out of the thing. Let's get another nice vista there. That one looks okay, doesn't it? All right, let's keep barreling through here, because believe it or not, there's still a shit ton of patch notes to do. So, there are new WOD armor boxes, a new mini Bog Queen from the Defeat the Bog Queen. That's very good. And again, I think there was a blog post they talked about her a little bit. Again, I mentioned that whole thing about the two titans. The Bog Queen is technically another boss. Oh god, where's the third boss in the Convergence is the Bog Queen? They didn't reuse her as well, did they? It's essentially Sorrow's armor. Hey, you might be right, yeah. You might be right. Peanut says, hey WP, gonna go back to the start, but you want to say it's nice to have me back. Look, I didn't go anywhere, there was no content. Updated the rewards for successfully completing of Mr. Monster's world boss. So yeah, the world boss up there as well. More tokens, more loot from the chests, more karma, more loot from other chests. Chests now contain charged titan cores or rotted amber, depending on if you opened it in the top left or the bottom left of the map, basically. The Pale Branch Spear now drops as a tradable weapon with selectable attributes. Now that's a red link, so I guess nobody's seen what that is. With the launch of the X-Pack, there was that special spear dropping from the meta, right? Like, is this another one? Back in last year's expansion. Look at these, more rewards here as well. They're saying to you, keep playing it. Increased XP from a shit ton of events. Look at that. So if you're still working on your Secrets of the Obscure masteries, I mean, who would be, right? It's been a whole year. Who the hell wouldn't have their Secrets of the Obscure masteries done? Huh. Yeah, well, you can get more XP for losers like me. I actually have a point issue there with that expansion. I'll get to it, guys. At some point, I will. So, yeah, there's more Mastery XP available. And they list the various events. And Okay, so we got that. What page are we on now? This one? Outer Nyos. The original Convergence now has a weekly achievement with the challenge. So there's incentive to do the CM every week. I didn't do the CM once. Was it any good? All I remember about it was it has an adventure-style timer, right? They updated the rewards for bronze, silver, and gold to also give a bunch more essences. I mean, it's crazy, isn't it? This is like the end game reward patch. They're basically saying, please fucking play the game. Look at all the rewards. Updated stacking rewards. It's just mad. All right, then we got raids and strikes. Some slight tweaks here. For Dagda, she had some like clunky stuff, basically. You can no longer invuln any ability where she should instantly defeat you, which is actually a change, a reasonable change there. Changing Constellation can no longer be avoided by just standing on top of her. In Bastion of the Penitent, Samurog no longer flickers. In the Doom fight, in Doom CM, you know, you get the football player charging around. There was a really annoying thing where when you came down, he could grab you right as you finished doing a green. But now you're immune to that for the tick that you land. So you don't have to have a heart attack every time you're landing, which is very nice. In a way, you could... I mean, no, you couldn't really control when you landed. Let's be real. The orbs are going in the middle and you just got to grab them. In Kinding Overlook, now here's probably the best bug fix that they did. By the way, you notice how they're saying fix an issue rather than bug fixes? Because there's always debates. Oh, was this a bug? Or they're just saying issues. But here, look at this. The Mind-Bladed Enforcer could fixate the same player, whatever. But this one here, fix an issue that could cause the sniper to become friendly and fail to disappear when reaching 1% health. That happened a lot to me with Minister Lee. Oh my god, that's an annoying bug as well. At the end of the sniper, guys, that's the sniper golem phase. That's right as you're going up to the final bit with Lee. That's right next to the end of the fight, and it's a long fight. I hated that bug. That bug was horrible. That's so nice that doesn't happen anymore. Really, really happy with that fix. Of course, I'll be happy with the fixes that have been bugs that have actually affected me, but there you go. Personal story, fix an issue that could cause players to get stuck in a personal story instance for the Sylvari if Rhiannoc was downed by enemies. I mean, look at this. Items. They renamed the Toxic Focusing Crystal to the Toxic Tuning Crystal. And, of course, then you have the placeable one that we talked about earlier. Here, the potions of Demon Slaying, potent and powerful ones, they now apply their bonuses to Cryptus and Titan Spawn, in addition to demons, because in lore they're kind of the same. It's amazing to me that that hadn't happened yet. They're dropping the sigils like mad, right? And I assume the sigils worked. So the sigils worked, but not the potions. That's actually kind of amazing. And does that mean you can use those potions in like more structured content now for that stuff? The Portable Wizard's Tower exchange gizmo has been updated to include Char Leadclaw's daily exchanges. Adjusted prices of the various gifts from last year's legendaries. Fixed an issue that could prevent transmutation charge. And by the way, that might be huge for obsidian armor crafting. I don't know. Fixed an issue that could prevent transmutation charges purchased in the vault from being delivered properly when you were in Sab. Did I play much Super Adventure Box this year? I did play a bit. Because I was just thinking to myself, I'm in the mood for Sab, but it wasn't that long ago. Fix an issue that could cause the Fiery Dragon Sword and the Icy Dragon Sword's elemental effects. That's when you kill someone, they'll like have a death effect matching the element. To display in the incorrect state when they were drawn or stowed. That's kind of amazing that they never worked. Jesus, they're like iconic. So if I kill people with a Fiery Dragon Sword, they'll actually properly burn to death now, will they? The Demolisher, and this one's huge. I was told about this on Discord. I mentioned it in my video last week. Demolisher is now available for gear with selectable attributes in PvE and World vs. World. Oh my god. If you watched my Let's Play on Janthir Wilds, you saw me talking about exactly this. I could not be happier. Let's get on to the Packed Flower, who we played the base game with. And I was talking about like Buildcraft with her. I said, you know, I want one of these like aggressive sets, but with a bit of cushion. But I don't want Marauder, if you remember. I was saying Marauder, you know, I'm a Ranger. I already have enough vitality. What I want is Demolisher. But I put her on Marauder because I didn't have any other choice. I can now swap my Marauder to Demo in PvE. Oh, so good. I love Demolishers. As long as you're on as long as you're not playing a Thief, a Guardian, or an Ellie, basically. Low vitality classes don't benefit so much. But basically what this means, guys, is I will be exactly as tanky as I was before. The proportion of my HP that goes down when I get hit will be the same as before. But because I've tanked it with toughness instead of just a big health pool, I can heal back up really easily because my max health will be lower. So all my healing effects, all my regen effects, all my lifesteal effects, all that shit, they're all way more potent now. I'm not any squishier, but they're way more potent. Obviously, the caveat to this in the competitive modes is you get, you know, condies into the mix, and condies will bypass the toughness. And so then you need to make sure you have a certain threshold of condi cleanse and all this. But we're in PvE, baby. In PvE, that's barely a thing. I mean, it is a little bit against these Titans, to be fair. But this is awesome. I'm really happy with this. I wanted demo for my open world build, and there you have it. I've got it now. Not only do I have demo, but I have infinite of all the boons. What more could you ask for? To be honest, I could just play Zerg. But still, for those out there that care a little bit about these things, yeah, I like that. Demo. And new stat sets are always fun. That's the kind of thing, though, that I really think they should have just built that into the full expansion, rather as like a bit of an afterthought or a little thing that comes in a patch. I would have loved it to have been Janthir Wilds introducing Demolisher or something. I don't know. Maybe that's silly of me. Right, next. We're nearly done now, guys. We're nearly done. Did I finish this whole page? I did, yeah. So that's the rewards update. Not much to talk about there. Here's the relics themselves. I'll give you my quick take on these. Obviously, the wiki hasn't got images for all of them just yet. I'm not sure where we get them all from either just yet. Banjo says, Gar is an NPC that came with the final sequence of the Obscure patch. There's a version of him in each expansion, and he lets you trade spare currencies for others at a diminished rate. Yeah, of the previous stuff, right? You're super excited to see me try the new raid at some point, WP. It's really fun. Nice difficulty level and mechanics. Well, look, I don't prog, really, on streams. But once I beat stuff, I do videos about it. So yeah, if I can get a team, if we can get in there, I might message the old spuds. I might throw some feelers out, and we'll see if we can get a group. It might be fun to play through. So here we go. New relics have been added. These relics will be needed to unlock. Will need to be unlocked before there are selectable options. Actually, look, let me just say this, guys. I'll get a group together for this raid. If you're interested, do I still have the channel on Discord? I think I kept it. Let's see. I might have gotten rid of the channel at this point. I'll tell you what, just message me on Discord if you're interested in raiding with me. We can get 10 people together. Message me, we'll figure out what we can do. And I'll have more news on that on the next episode of the Let's Play for sure. New relics have been added. Right. Relic of the Beehive. After using an elite, release a wave of pheromones that causes bees to swarm enemies struck. From a flavor perspective, I think it sounds really cool. From a mechanics perspective, again, I'm just completely meh about it. The tooltip description doesn't give us any sense as to the potency of the bees, how long they stay, how many ticks they do, how much damage it does, can it crit, do they apply condies? Any number of things could be going on with that. It's like when the first relics came out last year. You know, say creates a spinning wall, and you don't really know what it does or what it means. I remember when I was PvPing, I think it was the Sunless one. One of them was on Elite, you drop like this poison field at your feet, and if you played it on like a power build, you could just nuke people with it. You could just like run it on like a berserker, headbutt someone, they'd be stunned in it, and they'd die in like 2 ticks. It was hilarious. But, you know, when you read the description, all it really says is it drops a puddle. So, I don't know. And again, I've mentioned it before, relics are in not a great place, I don't think. I think we need to open this up a bit. There needs to be a bit more buildcraft. There needs to be like multiple slots, an offensive one, a defensive one, a utility one. They need to be contextually useful based on either the class we're playing, / the specializations we're using, or the content we're playing. You know, it needs to be bees do more damage here, or bees do less damage here, or whatever, so that people are actually swapping their own. Otherwise, this is just going to be a binary choice of what do the nerds online tell me does the most damage, and that's it, right? With very, very little. And you can keep adding more relics, but it doesn't really matter if Fractal is out DPSing them, so to speak. I think that relics with cool flavor like this bee thing are the right way to go. But there's sort of some fundamental issues with it at the moment that means it's not really exciting for me to see these come into the game. It should be. And I love the principle behind decoupling T6s from runes and all of that. It's just, it feels like they did about a third of the way to getting it fully in. Like, on the rune side as well, I feel like runes are a mess at the moment as well. You know, there's just so many, and it's so ticky-tacky, the differences between them. And the fact that some relics have the same name as runes now because the Dragon Hunter relic got split off of the Dragon Hunter rune and all that shit. Like, there could be... I look at this relics currently as a starting point for something really good, but it feels like the devs maybe think it's finished and fine and they're just plugging content into it. I don't know. Anyway, Relic of Geysers. Restore endurance to allies when you grant them vigor. This is an Ellie trait. It might exist elsewhere as well. Actually kind of mad that you could stack it with an Ellie, right? Pretty cool. It at least has an interesting niche. And again, if I had like a utility relic slot, that would be a utility relic, I think, that you would put in it. Relic of the Misttide. Cleanse a condition from yourself when you successfully combo a combo field with a leap or a blast finisher. Definitely PvP/World versus World focused. Relic of Mount Burial. After using an elite skill, create an area underneath yourself. Standing in the area increases your strike damage. Again, what's the modifier? Is it? Did we get to have more uptime on that, maybe, compared to Fireworks? There, that's a kind of good one, because at least that changes based on your class somewhat. How low cooldown do you have? Elites. But they tend to do shit where they slap like a 30-second ICD on that. So you can't enjoy it, you know? You can't enjoy it based on this build or the other thing. Relic of Reunification. I wonder what that's about. Is that going to be related to the story somehow here? Gain Frost Aura and Light Aura after using a heal skill. It's just a power crept Rune of Radiance, isn't it really, right? The classic one. Relic of Steam Shrieker. Burn nearby enemies when you successfully combo a water field with a blast or elite finisher. I don't know. Again, does Warrior still have powerful synergy? It doesn't, right? I feel like I remember Boots saying that it's gone. I don't know. Maybe I could have a deeper conversation with Boots about these at some point. I don't know. I feel like I'm bubbling up the need to do a Relic video. Okay, so then there's the World versus World element of this patch. They mentioned it last week. There's a big World versus World overhaul coming. This is their Siege overhaul. The Guild Siege, which is the only siege that really mattered as it was the strongest, has been renamed to just Siege. So if you want Siege now, you get it as Guild Siege. The Basic and Superior Siege you can no longer buy. It's just all on the same tier level. There's basically one type of siege, and it does a flat amount of damage. This idea of the economy plugging into your power in World versus World, they're actually stepping away from. I think that's a mistake. I think the World versus World was thriving when it was people with different gear level and different just straight up level and different foods and different siege access and different guild size with different perk access. That's what World versus World was built on. Asymmetry. And for years that's just been broken and not worked because there's no grind, there's no rat race in this game, so the two concepts don't match. So they could either have tried to double down or just step away from it. This to me looks like them fundamentally stepping away from it. Hopefully I didn't explain that too esoterically there. So yeah, you basically now, there's infinite siege gizmos, right? There's a whole collection to get them. This seems pretty cool. And you unlock it. And what it does is it gives you siege infinitely once you have the gizmo. I think that's amazing. I question their decision to do it as a gizmo unlocked via achievement though. To me, it feels a little bit more like, oh, I unbound my keybind for it, didn't I? I would have rathered see it come in on this in the ranks and abilities. I think it would have been more simple for them to execute, and it would have been a little something for a system that needs something. Like, you know, why don't we add another tier to Arrowcart Mastery, and at that point you get the gizmo? Wasn't that simple? Wasn't that plugging into a pre-existing system in a smart way? Wasn't that on theme? Wasn't it ready-made for us here? But they've done this instead. I guess collections are the best, right? Achievements are the best. So we'll see. But yeah, as a fundamental idea, I think it's quite cool. And it genuinely makes me think, oh, I want to go in and get those. I want to feel like I've got everything done. Siege Golems, formerly the Omega ones, can now swap between ranged and melee. The health's been reduced a bit. The cost of building them has also been reduced, so you'll see more of them. Now, some of this, I'm not big into World versus World, so I can't really tell you the logic behind some of this. Chat, help me out here. Anybody want to explain? What is that in service of? Making Siege Golems a bit weaker, but a bit more accessible. We like Siege Golems, and we want to see them more. The risk-reward wasn't worth it before. I don't know. What do you guys think? Damaging enemy players and siege equipment now grants participation for repelling. So defense, it's easier to proc, and that's good. Even as a roamer, I like that. The Tower Guardians and the Keeps achievements have been replaced with 2 general achievements. They'll be progressed by defending Stone Mist Castle, Keeps, and Towers. The respawn timer for Doliacs that successfully reach their destination has been increased to 5 minutes. See, this is huge. That sounds really big to me. What is it currently? 2 minutes? That sounds big. What is... To what end, though? We want to protect the Doliacs more because there's less of them. We want to defend more because of the supply we've managed to get into our objectives. Doliac requirements for towers have been reduced to 15 for secured, 30 for reinforced, 50 for fortified. This is good because camps flip so fast. You often didn't see a lot of these cool things until the game type died, right? And then people just upgraded them. Doliac requirements for camps have been reduced. So for towers versus camps, that is. The Doliac requirements for Stone Mist Castle have been increased to 40 for secured, 70 for reinforced, and 100. So Stone Mist, it will take longer to upgrade. So a fully upgraded Stone Mist will be, especially with the longer timer on each Doliac. New sentry turrets have been added as tricks and traps. They're the same as the ones you find in Edge of the Mists. I don't know if you guys remember those ones from Edge of the Mists. I did look at before this on Wiki. They're like little purple-looking pew 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 kind of droney tower things, and they'll ping people. But each player can only have one at a time. Still quite cool though. You get a whole Zerg. People dropping the sentry turrets all over the place. The Tower and Keep Lords now have the same health as the Stone Mist Castle Lord. Now that sounds mad. But remember, most of the time you're in Stone Mist Castle doing that, he's like super tanky because there's so many players there. He's scaled. Maybe it's not that big of a difference. I don't know. I remember, I think last week they mentioned they were going to increase Tower and Keep Lords. It was one of their examples of this update. And I remember it immediately spurred commentary. And people were saying, I don't know. People were saying, I think that it wasn't very good. But I feel like World vs. Worlders always say every change isn't any good. I mean, I know it's different people saying different things at different areas of the game. I know that. It just feels like there's always cynicism from one camp or the other based on your own personal experiences and expectations of the game mode. Again, these are all problems for having these weird modes that weren't well communicated or developed for years and years and years. So now people have different ideas of what they can be. And now ArenaNet's kind of hamstrung because any changes they make piss people off. Poison has been removed. This is a weird one. Poison got removed from the Toxic ability on Arrow Cart. That's skill 4. And added to the Fire ability. So you can still poison, but you do it with the Fire arrows. And the Toxic arrows are still called Toxic arrows, but they don't poison. They're just there for breaking supply now, I guess. I don't know. That one's weird. And again, I'm not enough of a World vs. Worlder to know. I mean, any insights will be appreciated for the live chat or anyone who comes to the YouTube comments of this video. Let me know. Inform me. Lift me from my ignorance. And then finally, guys, that's it, really. There's not really even anything to talk about on this screen. There's some tuning. This is the balance for this patch. Very minor tuning. Mostly for PvP and World vs. World. So the top 2 are PvP. Sanctuary getting a longer cooldown. And Gleaming Disc. Is that one of the axe auto chains? Base damage gets shaved by 20% on the modifier. On the multiplier, I should say, sorry. World vs. World, Shield of Courage went down. Bulwark went down. Hunter's Fortification went down. Lots of Guardian nerfs. We have a Willbender change here. Some slight Mesmer tweaks. Again, it's all competitive. And I haven't been playing competitive for the past 6 months. None of them look that major. Axe Thief, though, has been tuned down a bit. We're not in the heyday of these modes, I would say. For me, anyway. So, yeah. I don't know whether they'll really make much difference. They're just shaves. Very small shaves. That Mesmer Abstraction nerf is big, though. 1.35 down to 1. So you use 35% damage on the multiplier there. Well, there you go, guys. That's the patch notes. Thank you for bearing with me through that. I can't believe it's been an hour and a half. I really read those yesterday, and I thought, oh, I can probably get a video out of this. There's a reasonable amount to talk about here. I don't know if it would have been an hour and a half video, though. I mean, it's not just that. We've talked about the lore, our expectations of the plot. We've gone and explored the Wizards of all place. So, yes, let's jump into the story now with one final conversation that's about voice acting. There was a post that went up on the forums a couple of days ago. They said, due to circumstances out of our control, some voices are not in this patch. ArenaNet, as far as I know, now maybe there was another comment in the forum thread since then, or on Reddit, I don't know. As far as I know, ArenaNet haven't actually confirmed why the voices are missing. They haven't said that. But it seems likely it's to do with the voice acting strikes that are going on at the moment. People protecting their brands, their identities, whatever, from AI recreation. There's obviously a lot of turbulence in that industry at the moment because AI voices are getting so good and they're threatening a lot of people's jobs. I had a whole big rant on this in one of my Final Fantasy episodes. I won't go into it again here. But, you know, I'm very in favor of the AI stuff. I don't see it as the boogeyman. I'm more of a, you know, I think a lot of people are fear-mongering over it. And yes, some people are being affected. It's always sad when the world moves on, when technology, when resources change, when people lose their jobs, you know. No one has complete control over their own job security in this life. And that sucks. And it's a real shame, right? And my heart goes out to anyone affected by AI. But at the end of the day, I do think it's going to be a great thing for the consumer. I think it's a good thing for... you know, we always talk about AAA studios, but what about AA studios? What about A studios? What about games in budget ranges like Guild Wars, big MMOs where you could voice a hell of a lot more? What about people making mods? What about small indies? Suddenly, the playing field is leveled. I don't need thousands of dollars and lots of contacts to be able to get a bunch of cool voices for my game anymore. I view it as a generally positive thing, so I'm a bit miffed and a bit upset with the way the community talks about this stuff. You know, I think people are parasocially invested in voice actors because they watch their streams, they watch their videos, they think their characters are the person, and they fight against this generally really cool thing because for someone that's not actually your friend, you don't actually know, but they've peddled you a sob story about how they get affected by it. You know, it's like when YouTubers get demonetized for this, that, or the other thing. And now their bottom line's affected, so they galvanize their audience to rally about it and get really mad about it. And I always think, you know, they're just using you, really. So anyway, look, it's sad or whatever, but there's stuff going on with the voice actor strike. So there are voices missing here. Only some. So I don't know how it works. And this might not even be to do with the voice actor strike. We will see. But I believe I'm playing one of the affected characters. I do want to do it more. I want to play more in Packed Flower. I do. So I could swap my character here, but I kind of don't want to. And this is a bit like with the COVID patches where there was no voice acting. I kind of like the idea of producing a bit of content that is a ship in the bottle. It's not a ship in the bottle. A snapshot in time, right? At some point, these voices will come in and no one will get to experience this again. So it might be a subpar experience, but I'm both curious how it plays, and I also think, you know, it'll be a nice thing to just preserve. It'll be good for posterity. And it might be an excuse for us to play the story twice, depending on how short it is. 3 chapters? Christ, how short is this going to be? It might be a good excuse for us to do it twice. Once with a voice, once without. So I am going to play this here today on Packed Flower. That's what we're going to do. And I guess I'll be voicing her. Oh, I'll do my female voice. I don't know. I'll try to make it not cringy, guys. Or will I? You know me. So we'll see. That's it, I think. Anything anyone thinks I've missed, let me know. It's quite short. Don't worry about it too much. Yeah, I think people said to me that Jenna doesn't have a voice, which is kind of a minor spoiler in a way. It's that Jenna's in this patch. Okay. Algorithms are using their voices to learn, and it's not making up their own. So the voice actors have the right to not permit their voices to be used to feed them. Yeah, I mean, I'm all for that. People can protect their own voice and how these algorithms work. And look, what will happen over time? I'm not talking in the next month. I'm talking in the next 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, 30 years. This technology's here. It's not going away. What will happen is they will model and they will learn off of people who do consent, and the current industry will fall by the wayside. That's what's going to happen. But in the meantime, people who want to try and hold back the tide, and they want to say, well, you can't use my voice, that's fine. Yeah, and I think people have every right to do that. And I'm not against the strikes in the short term. But I think in the long term it is essentially pointless, and they are on their way out. With the exception of star power and stuff, which is kind of funny when we're talking about this in terms of voice acting, where that industry all used to be about how well you could conceal your own voice. But now it's more about like recognition of a specific person, you know, and it is that star power thing, it's that celebrity thing, you know. Anyway, let's not get all into this. We had a big conversation about it in the Final Fantasy episode, and I didn't go back and read it in the end, but I think some people ended up fighting each other in the chat, which was quite disappointing. So yeah, using a bucket to scoop water out of a sinking ship. I mean, so to speak. It depends how long-term you are as a thinker, you know. And a lot of people, I think, are not very long-term thinkers, but, you know. The commander, Keith and Malice, track down the Durmand Priory's missing Titan expert. Do we usually get a little preview as to what's going to happen there? The Durmand Priory's missing Titan expert. Who is that? I would have said that Waiting Sorrow is the Durmand Priory's missing Titan expert in a way. Do they have another expert? Were we introduced to a Titan expert in the last patch? Again, there was this thing where they did talk a bit about the Titans, and they suggested they were going to go check out the Foundry of Failed Creations to see whether the Soul Flame, remember they had that really cool phrase, the Soul Flame, whether that had been relit or whatever? Or was it the Soul Candle? I can't remember. The Soul Forge? I don't remember a specific someone being designated an expert. Oh, sorry. Oh, this is the Priory, not the Ward. Ah, you're right. Okay, so the Priory did have an expert, didn't they? We did one of the side stories and we went to the Priory. Oh, shit. Are we going to go back to the Priory? All right, here we go. This is it. Okay, we're not speaking. Do we have dialogue on? We do have dialogue on. Okay. It's going to be weird whenever the commander speaks. I'll have to watch out for that. In fact, I'm going to watch right now in the background because quite often voice acting plays even while you're reading the mail. Here, let's go to NPC. No, there's no dialogue just yet. Okay, urgent Priory business from Gix. Oh, I'm already liking it, just because we're going back to core. Commander, Farah Baleseeker, our leading Titan archivist, is missing. Is Farah Baleseeker the person we spoke to before in the side story? Farah is the reliable sort, so her disappearing like this is highly out of character. I last ran into her checking out some materials here at the library. Nothing unusual about it. I'm told that you, Malice, and Keith have been researching the Titans' whereabouts. You three should have a look around Farah's office yourselves. When you arrive, I'll have Archivist Sistina show you to the research station. Given the outstanding circumstances, you three will be granted access to the Priory regardless of your membership. Thank you very much. I mean, that last sentence is quite nice. It sort of makes me think that ArenaNet are cognizant of the fact not everyone joined the Durmand Priory, which is cool, because any time they talk about my order is the best. Make haste, Steward Gix. It probably didn't need to be said, though, the amount of times we've gone back to the Priory, whether we join them or not, you know. It's happened a shit ton as the story's gone along. You know, you could be a Vigil character and you've spent more time at the Priory than you have at the Keep. And I don't even think it's close. I think the Priory's had way more. When you consider the special archives and everything. Has Packed Flower picked a faction? No, Packed Flower hasn't actually even played the personal story. Packed Flower is on Following the Dream, which is right at the start, like not even a single objective. Might have even skipped out of the tutorial instance. Oh, this is good, isn't it? Look at all the people here. Shall we examine Fashion Wars, shall we? That guy's got a fireworks launcher going.
You search for knowledge.
You search for knowledge?
What can I do for you?
What can I do for you? That sounds very Guild Wars 1, like a dwarf. Like when you speak to a dwarf or something. Alright, well, not too impressed actually with the people's faction here. Sorry guys, actually that guy looks cool. Nice. That's how I basically dress Liz, except not purple. Priory players get a handful of custom lines this episode. Cool. Are they, like, substantive, or are they, I mean, maybe we'll do a replay on Liz, because she's been in the... No, Liz is Order of Whispers. Who's my most played Priory character? My Necro, maybe? Oh, we get the music! Well, last time we played, we were desperate for this music, and it never came up, did it? We get it this time. I kind of want to wear the extra clothes, but we don't have the astral acclaim for it to finish off the Rot Stalker stuff.
Commander, look at this place. No wonder they keep it under lock and key. Never could convince any Priory to let me have a peek at these shelves. Now that I'm in, I might never leave.
Oh, this is
Cool.
cool.
Burn me, they've got both copies. What else are they hoarding in here?
We'll have plenty of time to browse later. The books aren't going anywhere. Farah, however...
Well, hold. Gik said the Archivist Sistina would show us to Farah's station. Let's start there, says the Packed Flower. Says me. Okay, do they let us read any of these? Do they let us read any of them? Also, another thing about the story, alright, here's what happened, right? I did my Let's Play, but I did it slowly over the days. That meant that you guys in the audience got to play it first and finish it first. You guys all played it, you all finished it, you all knew that even though Malice is a part of this story, she doesn't betray us in this story. Meanwhile, I was very early on in the story, and I saw Malice was there, and I said, oh my god, she might betray us. To which you guys immediately responded saying, no, she's just our friend. And I think a lot of you guys immediately convinced yourself there's no way she'd ever betray us or whatever because it didn't happen in the base story. I still view her with suspicion. I still think it's weird they picked her, not Krisha, to be our ally, not Ephraim to be our ally. Krisha we have much closer connection to. Ephraim has the whole Flame Legion connection. They would have bounced off of the story in much more impactful and meaningful ways. Why Malice? Why Malice? I think it's because they've got something up their sleeve. They're going to do something cool with her. She's going to commit some Ash Legion subterfuge, make a play for Kana or something, steal the Sceptravore. I still view her with suspicion. There are people who have responded to me and say, oh, but we were such friends in the Icebridge Saga. Were we? Were we such friends in the Icebridge Saga? We barely saw her in the Icebridge Saga. She is essentially a stranger to us, as far as I'm concerned. A little bit up from us. She's like an acquaintance. And yet she's one of the main characters of this expansion. It's weird to me. You know, and you can make an argument, well, they just wanted a new character that we barely know. Ephraim fits that bill, plus all the Flame Legion stuff. You know, you can make the argument, oh, they didn't want Krisha, they couldn't get a voice actor or whatever. No, Krisha is in the expansion, and they got voice acted stuff with Krisha. I see no reason for Malice to be in this story unless it's that it's going to fold into a cool Ash Legion story a bit later. So here, her browsing these books and being like, ooh, she's never been allowed in, but now she is. I think this could be another little bit. You know, what if she gets some information on how to utilize Mulmud or whatever, and we'll see what they do. Ephraim's top tier. Well, we don't know Ephraim that well, right? Ephraim's a bit... in a way, I don't like this thing where it's like the badass, evil, fucked up Flame Legion are now led by like this cuddly guy. You know, it's just more of this sanitization of the Char thing going on. But overall, I think Ephraim's alright, and I like that they've progressed the Flame Legion story to an interesting place. So yeah, I'd love more Ephraim on screen, especially in a story about the Titans. I always want to speak to this scholar, because this scholar was the scholar that first told us about 6 dragons instead of just 5. Because she said it was the 5 elder races against the 6 dragons. Ooh. And I still to this day don't know whether that was an accident.
News?
Whether that was an accident from Arena or not. How are we still messing up telegraphing in instances? Right, if I mouse over someone and it doesn't change, it means they don't have dialogue, but maybe I can press F.
We know so little.
Right? If I mouse over them and it turns into a speech bubble, it means there's fucking speech!
I learn something new
Why?
every day.
Why? How are we still... Oh, alright. Look, I'm being picky. It's fine. It's Chinatown. It's just Guild Wars, guys. It's Tyria. Hello, Archivist.
Welcome. Gik said to expect you.
Hello.
Sistina, Farah's mentee. I'm holding down the fort while she's... Honestly, I have no idea what she's doing, or where she is. Nobody does. It's very unlike her.
Gik said the same. She doesn't seem the type to just run off.
Even her research station looks like
God, my acting's so bad.
Here, come see for yourselves.
Look, it's like I'm
Farah's
actually in
been
it.
spearheading our Titan research efforts, gathering notes on history, biology, etc. Hoping to find some sort of exploitable weaknesses of interest to you 3, I'm sure.
You have no idea.
As is Farah's well-being.
I can
Is it? I
empathize
don't really
with
know
why
her.
she'd feel so invested.
Obsessed, more like. Your last encounter with that 3rd Titan Ura sent Farah down an absolute rabbit hole.
Ooh.
I've known her to get absorbed in her work, but this time, she was a woman possessed.
Was she?
Leading up to her disappearance, she was buried under tomes at her station all hours of the day. I wondered if she might be sleeping there. and then she was gone. Here we are.
Buried under tomes. You weren't kidding.
I've been trying to sort through it all. Thought maybe there'd be some clue in her research as to where she went. But, as you can see, it's a daunting job for one person.
We'll take it from here. Let you know if we find anything. I would love to actually do an LP, genuinely, where I just get to do little dab in little voice bits. Obviously, getting the timing right is tricky. I guess they have the dialogue timing already barred out with the space to just insert a bit of dialogue. So they're kind of having to guesstimate how long it would take the talent to read it, which is quite an interesting thought. Can I just say in chat from Rasta there, right? Rasta says, this is ArenaNet we're talking about. They would never do a story that complicated or sophisticated. And you spelt sophisticated wrong while typing that, by the way. If you're going to come at someone on intellectual grounds, they probably just picked Malice because it's a recon mission, nothing more. Look, I'll criticize this game when it's not satisfying or whatever. I don't think that's fair, though. I think they do sophisticated stories. I do think that they do tell good... And I know this is not a good example because it's a controversial one to a degree. But, like, Aureen's revival, the number of layers that went into that with the Lichtstorm and the Ascension and stuff, I think there was actually a lot going on there in Season 4. I think they did tell a fairly complicated story there. I think they told a fairly complicated and well and nuanced story as well at the start of the Icebreed Saga. Obviously, the end was what the end was. But the start, all the original shit with Bangar and Ryland and stuff, they're not just slapping main characters in because it's a recon mission. I think they think quite deep. You can't play this and look at all the thought that they put into all the world building and all the lore in all those side journals. You know, the attention to detail they had to include shit from, like, a throwaway line in Season 3 about Cordicus and Janthir. They didn't just throw her in just because. I'm sorry they didn't. There's a reason they picked her. And for the life of me, unless it's that they're building to some cool thing about the Ash Legion, I can't see it. So I will defend them on that. I'm going to take Jennifer Hale's job later. Oh, yeah. Right, well, there's a workbench. Anything else we can do? Anything else sneaky going on? You might call me naive for my take on that. Maybe. But I think there's only a certain amount of naivety I can express after 12 years studying this game and playing this game and doing journalism for this game.
Anything of note, Commander?
Well, yes, though it probably doesn't help our search much. It's some notes and first-hand accounts by the Coden on Titans. Interesting. And us. I suppose the Ward would keep the Priory informed. The Coden accounts seem aligned with ours. Right. Spawn Titans, led by progenitors, strange communication methods, bloodstone thirst.
Probably doesn't help our search, but it's good info. Let's take note, but keep looking.
So yeah, I mean, that pretty much sums it up, doesn't it? That's quite a nice quick little recap there. You get big titans, which create progenitors, the little one. The progenitors are the big ones, right? Like Greer and Decima are progenitors. And what you might say as well is the titans we see in Guild Wars 1 were progenitors. That was not codified in Guild Wars 1, but it is now, right? If it's a big titan and can make little one, it's a progenitor. In Guild Wars 1, the way it worked is when you killed the progenitor, it's split into the small ones. But yeah, so you get spawn, titans spawn, progenitors make them. They communicated through storms and the weather. It was a bit weird, and they were hungry for bloodstone magic. Actually, I had someone say to me the other day that it's a bit disappointing that the Titans feel so much like Elder Dragons. Like, what would the Elder Dragons do around a bloodstone? They'd feed on it, right? And that's kind of what we got here. Big monsters feeding on magic. But, you know, I can't say I feel totally the same way. So what do we got over here? Optional? Mistied journals. Entry 4. No time to grab my journal. I'll just scribble this here and add it to the rest of the entries. I'm back at the Priory. It's the middle of the night, and finally, days and nights of research have paid off. Since leaving Janthir Syntri, all I've wanted is a reason to go back. I haven't been able to think of anything besides the questions I left unanswered there. Now I have my reason, and I may very well have my answers. It's all too much to explain here. I need to get going. I'll write more when I reach the Isle. Okay, so she ran to the Isle, so that's the information we need. So that's not really optional, is it? That's full on. Mind you, it says find clues to her whereabouts, 0 out of 3. How is that not a clue to her whereabouts? I mean, that was pretty explicit, wasn't it? She's at the isle. I mean, it didn't hone down very far. Fine, fair enough. Right, let's get away from that turret. They're very loud clicking. Ogden, are you here? I would like to speak to Ogden. Or Gix, actually. Anyone. Hello? Oh. In the lecture hall. Entry 1. First day on Janthir Syntri is in the books. So this was when they were originally here, right? Should probably explain what I'm even doing here. The Tyrian Alliance reached out to the Durmand Priory for some extra help studying the Titans. Gix told them he had just the expert for the job, and here I am. For being so new to the global scene, the Alliance has been quick to establish itself. Indeed, yeah, I mean, I only just arrived, really. Already, they've enlisted help from the Astral Ward, the Sylvari Tree Tenders, and now the Priory. The Sylvari Tree Tenders? Is that to help the Pale Tree in some way, or is that in association with the Titan problem? And word is that the former Pact Commander is even running around here. Oh, I am indeed. I still can't believe my luck. Reading about Titans from historical tomes is one thing. Potentially seeing them in the wild, that's a whole other beast. I figure journaling will help me keep track of my day-to-day life, of my day-to-day in the field. If I see anything interesting, maybe a Titan claws crossed. Maybe a Titan claws crossed. I can jot down the details while they're still fresh. I'm being stupid here. I don't understand. What is it she's written in brackets there? If I see anything interesting, maybe a Titan claws crossed. Okay, she's a Char, right? I see what she's saying. She's saying if I see anything interesting, maybe a Titan. Fingers crossed! But she's a Char. So she's saying claws crossed. I could jot down the details while they're still fresh. Anyway, a storm's rolling in, so I'd best get some shelter. Sounds like it's going to be a mean one. Oh, we get all the entries here. I thought I was going to explore and grab them all. Yeah, like fingers crossed. Exactly, guys, yeah. Entry 02. So much for daily journaling. I've been so deep in research, I keep forgetting to write about it. Oh, always document. Lately, I've been interviewing Codons stationed on the Isles about what they've seen. Some even gave eyewitness accounts of their own personal Titan sightings. I'm working on compiling them and for Alliance and Priory records. While the interviews are going well, Janthir Syntri's frequent storms are unsettling. I expected a harsh climate. The Isles are practically famous for it, but these storms are unlike any I've experienced. They're strong, sure, even violent at times, but there's just something deeply unsettling about them. They're also peculiarly consistent. And because of all that, I can't stop wondering about them, so I've made it a little side project of my own to learn all I can about them. And I hear the rumblings of one brewing right on cue. So like weird magically induced storms, and I guess we don't really have large-scale weather wizards in this franchise, right? I mean, sure, magic users, elementalists, whatever, they can summon like small localized storms, but these are, you know, this is almost like the climate of the area, right? It's fucked. Entry 3. My brain is going, and we know the Titans communicate through it. So is it like Greer and Decimir speak to one another through the storms at every X interval, like they're reporting back to each other? Entry 3. My brain is going so fast, I can barely write quickly enough. Turns out that my side project, studying the Isle's storms, is going better than expected. I've been asking around, and according to those stationed here a while, the storms in Janthir Syntri worsened around the same time the Titans first appeared. Even more curious... Okay, so the storms predated them. Even more curious, the Titans appear to thrive in the storms. Why? I don't know for sure, but my guess has to be to do with the Bloodstone. Several accounts of the Titans during the Mist-Tide storms report them feasting, especially ravenously, on Bloodstone shards. Yeah, like the storm gets worse while the meta's up, right? Once satisfied, they act particularly energized and aggressive. This effect is even true. I love this sense that it's like while we've had to wait between the patch, this is what she's been doing and studying. You know, it's like a recap of what happened on the. Meanwhile, on the Isles, you know, once satisfied, they act particularly energized and aggressive. The effect is even true for those appearing injured or in poor health beforehand, and for whatever reason, it only seems to happen during storms. So many thoughts here. Is there something in these storms' energy that bolsters Bloodstone? Would that explain the amplified effects, and also why they feel so off? Then what is this energy? Where do these storms even come from? Previous research suggests that the Titans negatively impact nearby ecosystems. Could their appearance have made the Isle storms even worse? Maybe, but it doesn't feel like their effect... But it doesn't explain their effect on Bloodstone. Still, I feel like I'm onto something here. I just need to keep searching for answers. Oh my god, the music there with the creepy noise right as we finished it was kind of well timed. I have no idea what they could be getting at with storms and bloodstones and titans. When the explosion happened here at Bloodstone Fen, there was a hell of a storm there. But I just sort of saw it as generic, chaotic, magical imbalance, you know? I still have 0 of 3 clues. Is it just not updating? Am I going to find the third one now and it will just ding directly into 3? Oh, maybe not. No, because look, there's a magnifying glass.
You look focused, Commander. Find something?
Maybe. It's about the Titans and their environments. Kaith has one and has her own section in this one. Kaith has her own section.
Oh.
You're talking about Greer's effect on the swamp ecosystem. One of the lowlanders made similar comments.
Don't even remind me of that putrid place. This must be from when I was speaking with the tree tenders. What else?
She sounds a bit different this patch. Mentions the Titans merging with their environments, and that Ura's steam walls might be a clue to her location.
Now we're getting somewhere. Where there's steam, there's...
A geyser, perhaps?
Farah seems to think so. She suggests Mount Barrier. What this is? I want to read it though.
What are we waiting for?
Before we go chasing geysers up and down the aisles, let's be sure there's nothing more to see here.
Yeah, sure. Okay, that was our first clue apparently. I couldn't read it though. You let me read those other ones that essentially told us nothing. But this one... So wait, what? Why geysers? Just because the Titans can merge with their environments. Ura's steam walls might be a clue to her location. So Ura is the steam. I remember there was this vague idea at the end of the last patch that Ura is the mountain, right? This is all quite cool. I like the idea that they're expanding on this because there is this weird thing of like why the Titans reflected their environment so strongly in Guild Wars 1. I'm sure there was nothing deeper written about it back in Prophecies, but they've taken that and they've ran with it and they're doing something cool. So if they can merge with their environment, if they can mimic their environments and get big enough, then surely they just are the environment, you know?
I'm coming up empty. How about you two?
Same, I'm afraid. Commander?
Sistina was right about Farah becoming obsessed with this research. Her journals say she was running a side project on the Misttide storms and their connection to the Times. It's like I'm reflecting on the other
I can
journals.
see why she'd think the two connected. How, I'm not so certain.
Neither was she. She wonders if the storm's energy amplifies Bloodstone, drawing Titans to its power.
Would explain their fixation on it.
Ugh, that was really sloppy, Malice. She's still not sure what the energy is, or if the Titans influence the storm, or they do it like other environments. At least, not where the journals leave off. We're definitely reflecting on that other book.
Maybe she found a lead and rushed off to test it, confer with someone, panic.
Hopefully not the last, or we may need to do the same.
Jesus Christ, the right in my ear, Malice. Jesus. Look, the chart men like that might like that, but I don't necessarily. Char saliva, anyone? Yeah, it's like there's 6 things to press F on here, but really there were only 3. Surely it should be reads the dialogue, closes the book, and then the dialogue procs immediately, right? But instead it's read the book, go to a different area, read a non-book. Well, here, we got this one.
That scrawling looked rather frantic. Should we be alarmed?
She's in Janthir Syntri, found something in her research, then left in the middle of the night. Doesn't say what. And she hadn't been documenting well.
Did she give an exact location?
That Malice is trying to get in the special archive. She knows. No, but it seems the area near Mount Barrier seems like our best bet.
Let's tell Sistina what we know, then move out.
Yeah, Malice, there's nothing to see there. There's nothing in there. You can leave the fireplace now. Definitely don't want no Ash Legion going in there, right, guys? Alright. Oh, dude, I love this. This is some Guild Wars 1 music right here. This is the depths. And maybe Echovald, actually. I think at first this is Echovald music originally. Sistina.
You found something.
Yeah. For ours in Janthir Syntri thinks she's made a breakthrough in her research.
What is it?
Well, we don't know.
That we're not sure of. But she's been stitching together all sorts of threads regarding the Titans' behavior. Particularly their relation to Bloodstone and Mist's tides. She also thinks Ura is hiding in a geyser-heavy area.
For all we know, she could be out there trying to track Ura down herself.
What is she thinking? Going to those isles alone and not telling anyone? Sanctioned fieldwork is one thing, but this is a death wish.
We should be able to extract her without much issue, provided she hasn't done anything too rash.
Everything about this is rash. Go, find her, and extract some foolishness from her while you're at it.
Extract some foolishness. Well, we'll do what we can. Best we get going. Ta-ta now.
Meet you there, Commander. We'll notify the Alliance and let the Lowland Council know to expect us.
Loves and kisses. Bye-bye. Oh, look, there's more we can do. Glad you arrived when you did. Archivist Sistina was about to march to Janthir herself to find Farah, and Gix would have let her just to get some quiet around her. She wouldn't have made it far, at least. Okay. I don't know Sistina or Farah that well, but they seem passionate. Passionate might be too subtle. Obsessed, more like. Farah's focus is the envy of any Ratassoon crew director. Never drops a lead. She was Sistina's mentor too, which might explain a few things. Obsession, put to a good cause, admirable. Well, she might have got herself in some real danger though. Oh, this is quite interesting. Oh wow, one of the optional things is over there. Nice, okay. Oh, it makes me sad though, the amount of people that are just going to click that button straight away and leave. Wait, now I can read the book? What? Weird. This is weird. Surely I should have read it first, then click the X. Alright, Greer. Binomic influence, swamp. Called the Rotbringer by locals familiar with his putrid air, Greer's form has taken on characteristics of swampy regions of the slithering outskirts. Lowland Coden, Rainless Meadow, stationed near Old Gavriel Plaza, succinctly described the Titan as swampy and gross. She recalled the smell curled the fur on my nose. An account taken by the Alliance from the Silvari Kaith summarized Greer's presence as follows. I sense sickness the moment I set foot in the area. Yeah, here's the Kaith quote that the commander was talking about earlier. That's so weird. There's a brief little moment there. The commander knew more than we did. I sense sickness the moment I set foot... I mean, I assume that happens in a lot of ways, actually. Like, the commander knows where the toilets interior are, for example. We don't know where they are. You don't have to be a Silvari to tell the environment's ailing. One whiff is proof enough. But to also feel the misery of those innocents, those plagued plants, the poisoned waters, the leaves curled by death, the mere memory makes me sick. Being there was nearly more than I could bear. That's awesome, isn't it? That's a very cool touch about how the Silvari would be extra affected in these nasty places. Ponder in the classroom. I saw someone in chat earlier said to ponder. I thought they were just joking. Is it a hidden achievement, is it? We've also got Decima, Binomic Influence, Storm. Swamps and storms. They don't feel very related, do they? This is not the first time we've been in the Durmand Priory in a Living World-esque patch, and we've heard that. I remember coming here in Season 2 and hearing that, like, Morgemoth was plant and shadow. Remember? They were like, these are the two domains. I was like, very weird domains. Okay, well, not off-putting to the senses, Decima's intrusion upon the Second Plains ecosystem has proved equally detrimental. The stricken plains, as their name suggests, are known for frequent lightning strikes. Decima's presence appears to have increased this frequency exponentially. Research conducted by Tyrian Alliance and Astral Ward members indicates a near constant risk of wildfires. The burn risk poses major threat to the safety of individuals, wildlife, and vegetation in the area. Lowlanders report a dramatic drop in the season's crop yield, fearing food shortages for the coming winter. And then finally, Ura. Excuse me. Binomic influence unknown. Due to her discovery being so recent, Ura's exact binomic influence is yet to be determined. According to Alliance accounts from the former Pact commander and allies, Ura used explosive steam walls to deter combatants. I thought of Ura as just this mountainous thing. I guess more of a volcanic thing? Geothermal activity? Steam wars? Based on what we know of Greer and Decima, this manner of attack is no accident. It may also be a key to discovering the geographical region of her hiding place. The use of steam may suggest and then it's cut off. I don't know. Did that just end? Or did I get a bug? Because sometimes that is a bug where the UI scale needs to be different, otherwise you can't see it. The thing is, I don't know whether it will refresh. Interface size, large, small. No, I can't. Oh man, I love those page sound effects, I really do. Yeah, I don't know. We obviously can't open it up again. Yeah, it just occurred to me that Ura, I've just had it in my head that Ura is going to be massive. I've just taken that as a fact, and I probably should question that. I don't want to get run away with the idea that she will be one like one of the biggest enemies we've ever fought or something. You know, like Primordus sized, like season 3 Primordus sized. But let's not get carried away here. She might just be like the other two. But she was kind of like their leader, though, right? It felt very much like Greer and Decima came from Ura. You know, like the magic of the story was, oh, look, the big titans make the little ones. Turns out the big ones were made by something too, you know. And I thought they did that quite well. I feel like Ura's got to be big. Sorry, yeah, Morty's was Plant and Mind. Zaitan was Death and Shadow, yeah, and they mentioned Zaitan in here. I remember Shadow was in this instance. Symbiosis of progenitors and spawn. After killing multiple Titan spawn with this hunting party, Lowland Coden, born from Thunder, speculated that smaller spawned Titans were acting as ancillary limbs for larger progenitor Titans. Battle accounts from the former Pack Commander and allies support these claims. We know these progenitor Titans to be Greer, Decima, and most recently, Ura. But is she on the same level as Greer and Decima, or like their mummy, or their god kind of thing? Because there's this whole thing. They were calling themselves Godspawn, right? What was that phrase at the end of the base game? It was just Godspawn, wasn't it? Or I can't remember. There was some kind of deity comment in there, because it left open the question that maybe Menzies was who they were referring to. And remember, there is that theory. Did Menzies hang about in the Fissure of Woe after Balthazar left? Get control somehow with his shadow army, create his own cauldron or something? The presence and migration. The Titan spawn has spread out across the Isles and have made landfall across Lowland Shore, threatening the Coden inhabitants. While their exact origin point is still unknown, early sightings place them near Mount Barrior. Inner core biology. Accounts from Lowlander Rainless Meadow cited the progenitor Titan Greer as having a glowing inner core exposed upon damage to his exterior armor. A similar core was seen by former Pack Commander and allies during an altercation with Decima, suggesting a biological consistency. So Titans have cores. Both accounts note the core's sensitivity to outside forces. What if the world is a Titan and the molten lava at its center is the core, guys? And what if these extra-dimensional beings are gonna attack it? I'm joking. There's something very Destroyer-esque about what I just said anyway there. Communication practices. Accounts of the progenitor Titans suggest an ability to communicate among themselves and with their opponents across great distances using storm-like calls and other interspecies communication. This information has been confirmed by Astral Ward Scout Branwen, the former Pack Commander, Kaith, and Malice. Bloodstone, Restoration and Regeneration. Concerningly, accounts from Astral Ward members, Palia, claim that the progenitors and spawns alike seem highly drawn to Bloodstone. Many have been spotted feeding upon Bloodstone shards to promote regeneration, in addition to requiring additional rest. Similar findings were noted in the field research conducted by the former Pack Commander Kaith and Malice. Okay, this is all information we already knew. It's all a recap. I'm a little bit conflicted on this, because on the one hand, I'm like, oh, if you're going to write a book about this, can we get like another little tidbit in there? But I think that's just me being greedy, maybe. Because there is another thing I've consistently been saying about Guild Wars 2 writing, especially when we compare it to 14, if you've been watching that project go along. Square Enix will often just reiterate the information you already know. They'll just say it over and over and over again. And I actually do applaud that. I think it's a good idea. It keeps everyone on the same page. It reminds us of what's happening. So yeah, it feels a little bit boring maybe that we read all this and we didn't get much more. I think the reason why I'm a bit conflicted about it in Guild Wars is because the patches are very short and we're only getting 3 patches, and I'm like, oh man, you know, give me new stuff when you give me stuff, you know. And here we got one of these empty pages, like when you're taking your GCSEs. This page is blank. All right, so that's the 3 clues done. You guys said go into the classroom. That's the library. Here we go. And ponder at the front desk, maybe? Study break. Use the /ponder emote in the Durmand Priory classroom. Thank you, guys. That's a weird one. Oh, we have another thing. Talk to additional Priory members to gather information. This we can kind of interact with, but not really. There's no consistent head nodding in Guild Wars 2. Is that what's wrong with it, is it? I'll tell you, it's just like cutscene stuff, you know? Like, a lot of these little scenes, like... Because they're not like little mini cutscenes where they just take control of the camera and do fun things in the environment and swing it around. You know, it just feels a lot better in that game. Even that when I just speak to an NPC, I can lock on and swing the camera to them. In Guild Wars, it's very bare bones, you know, the actual storytelling devices they have. So I did notice upstairs there's someone else we can speak to, so I assume that that's going to trigger this last thing. Look, it's this Arcanist over here. Is that the one I was talking about? Well, no, they were sitting on the ledge, weren't they? Hello?
Knowledge is power.
Very easily missed. Can I help you? Yeah, did Ferrari ever mention how the Titans organize their spawn? I recall something she read or observed. They seem to favor their progenitor, the originating Titan, acting as the body's natural defenses would. Upon the progenitor's death, however, she's unsure. Are they like vampires and they all crumble? Or do they just end up getting a mind of their own? Oh, look at this. Wow, there's one even hidden all the way over here. And Kate's come over here. Hello. Did you set... No, you didn't.
Need something?
Oh, that's why. That's why the telegraphing is fucked on this NPC. It's because they do have dialogue, but only at the end of the patch. That's why. I see. You find it interesting is Garen seemed to suggest an arbitrary maximum number of Titans that could be lingering around. Did he? Wait, is that something that's going to happen later in this patch? Did he? When I logged into Guild Wars yesterday and I was playing Dragon's Stand, someone whispered me and said, "Hey WP, can you answer a lore question for me?" And I said, "If I can, I'll go for it. Shoot away." And they said, "Well, this will be spoilers for the new patch." And I said, "Oh, sorry, I'd really rather play it myself first." And they said, "Okay, I'll get back to you later." So I'm wondering what that is.
Knowledge is the greatest treasure.
Commander, hello. Though perhaps you prefer Wayfinder now? Commander's fine. Did you... All these people are asking, and I'm just reiterating, Commander. Did you happen to see Farah leave? I did, actually. Like, what? It's not that... Our name is not that important. I did, actually. And judging from the look in her eyes, she was on the hunt for something big. She wouldn't drop her research duties for any old cross-dimensional disturbance. Alright, I'd better catch up to her quickly then. Oh my god, look at that. Wow. Okay, so 3 achievements per chapter again, maybe? We get 15 lowland pine logs. Which I wish I'd been decorating a bit more right now suddenly, because I would know whether that feels satisfying or not. Is Garen said it in the base expansion story? He suggested there could be an arbitrary number of Titans in the base expansion story. When did that happen? Can someone give me a quote or a refresher on that? If I remember correctly, as Garen said in the base expansion story, there was a very finite number of Titans, no more than a handful. Yeah, on Janthir, active at this time. Not that there's a hard cap on the species as a whole. Sorry, I interpreted that chat comment very differently there. I understand that to mean is Garen's like, well, look, there can only be so many there right now. because look at the damage they've caused. Look at, you know, they would have leaked out. They would have this, they would have that if there were more. He's just ballpark estimating how many there are, surely. He's not saying you can only have X number of Titans because of some magical lore thing. That's how I read that anyway. And I mean, Christ, look at Guild Wars 1. Look how many Titans. There are armies of Titans raging across the whole world at once. What are we to suggest? Well, this is cool, though. We didn't have a single story patch here in the base game, and now we're getting one. So, hold on. I want to test something here. Since it's been long enough now. Despite all my shit talk. My aggressive shit talk. I have actually ran out of the robot things. But I don't think I fully stacked it on this character, did I? I fully stacked it on Liz. I want to see if it takes it away from us when we go into the story instance. Is Garen also referred to her as an Imperatrix, so it was sort of implied she was higher ranked than the other two? Yeah, that phrase Imperatrix is interesting. It almost sounds like a Chari, kind of like Roman title, doesn't it? Oh, we're going to have so many blue buffs here. Blue buffs. Okay, Cottage is saying... Yeah, he meant Titans that would exist on Janthir specifically. The quote is, our records are likely dated, mind you, and this one may be more evolved than the hive we encountered before. So, Isgaran talked a little bit about meeting a hive of Titans before. I wonder if that was in the face of the annihilation of the Massat. I want to reiterate another, like, my favourite theory about Isgaran, by the way, guys. Again, I'm going to, just as I said, you know, the game should reiterate information we know. I really like the idea, still. I've fallen in love with this idea. You know, Isgaran is very dispassionate, very cold, very calculating. He doesn't really view death very seriously, right? He's happy for Paether to lose a bunch of Cryptis before finally stepping in when the tide has turned, right? He doesn't really mind. Do you remember at the end of Secrets of the Obscure? He's like, oh, yeah, we did it. And the commander's like, yeah, people died. And he's like, the commander asked him why he didn't help with the Elder Dragons. He's like, look, it worked out, didn't it? The Elder Dragons are gone. You sorted it out. And the commander's like, yeah, people died. And he's like, yeah, a couple. Sorry about Tybalt or whatever, but, you know, it could have been a lot worse, trust me. Right, Isgaran's got this thing where he doesn't really... He views the death of individuals and small sacrifices in war and life as small things, you know? He's an immortal. He's seen a lot of death in his life. He's got this thing. I will reiterate, the thing I've fallen into love with more than anything else is this idea that how did the Seers fill the Bloodstones with magic in the first place? The Bloodstones, these devices of sacrifice. How did they fill it with magic? Where did all the Seers go? Perhaps even before their war with the Massat. Maybe a lot of them sacrificed themselves. Maybe a huge amount of Seers killed themselves for the Bloodstone project to happen. Isgaran was one of the survivors. He saw many of his kin, his whole race, die out. They're all gone. And that's why he's got this attitude about sacrifice and death. He looks at us bitching about Tybalt, and he's like, well, fucking millions of my kinsmen died to preserve this world. All right, chill the fuck out. And that's why he's kind of got this different perspective on these things. I love that idea. I still love that idea. And by the way, last time I mentioned that, someone in chat as well said this would also explain why he fucking hates the gods. This would explain why when the gods come and tamper with the Bloodstones and break some of them open and start giving magic out again, why he'd be furious about that. Why he would really, really be angry. And I think that's brilliant as well. I love that idea. I don't know whether ArenaNet will do that story. I don't know if they consider that too adult or dark. Or, you know, we live in a world where people use the word unalive, right, instead of murder or whatever. I don't know. Is this taboo material that they won't want to touch? I think ArenaNet are very cognizant of taboo. So maybe they won't do something like that because, you know. But I think it's a cool story, and we'll see. Was that your comment, Banjo? Whoever it was an amazing message. It was really cool. It could have been yours. I like that idea. Pokey, this is a good surprise. You seem in good spirits. Hello, Poised Arrow.
When we told the Lowland Council our plans, he jumped at the chance to help.
Better to put myself to use than mope around. Plus, it's one less worry for my paw. Got plenty enough of that. Get to it, shall we? So, this Farah, She's a researcher, and kin to our Malice, yes?
Well, she was Flame Legion originally. So more like what a Northern Coden is to a Lowlander.
Okay, cool. We get a Flame Legion chart.
Lost cousin.
Well, yes, I suppose so. Lost, at the very least.
Perfect. I'm really happy with this, and I'll tell you why as well. One of my other criticisms with Malice, and I never read a single good... People kicked back against this as well, but I'm sorry, guys. I'm really sorry. I don't see it. I didn't like that we had a fucking Imperator. I still don't. What are you doing here? You should have like a whole nation to run. Come on. Don't make it... It feels too small and too ridiculous that an Imperator just wanders around on her own. You might say, oh, it's Ash Legion. They like sneaking around. Ah, come on. You just... I really don't like it. I think they should be smaller characters in these stories. And Ephraim with the Flame Legion would have been just as much of a problem as the Malice thing. Ephraim's not a perfect fit either, because Ephraim, again, holds too high of an office as far as I'm concerned. But, now we have a Flame Legion character on the board who does not hold high office. So perfect. I'm liking the look of this. I'm liking this Farrar person. By the way, is their name the exact same as the word for where Char goes grow up? Oh shit, are these new enemies? Fuma rollers. Oh, these are so new, aren't they? Wow. Oh, it looks cool. Oh, okay. Alright, entering a story instance took my things away. Okay, I want to rein back on my rant a little bit earlier, since it took my robot stuff away, entering the instance. So it's only open world that gets invalidated. The first... Which is still the vast majority of what you'll be playing, let's be real. This is just the first few hours of a patch when you're in these. But still, that's not so bad then. Oh, I'm so happy I'm in demo now. I'm so happy. Oh, it's a little bit late with that. What's that ahead?
Seems they're timetables of storm patterns. And they match Farah's writing from the looks of it.
Unless the field sprouted notes of its own. I take it we're on the right track.
Timetables of storm patterns. Yeah, so these are some of her notes, basically. This is mad that she just ran here on her own. Is that going to be tied into the story in any way? Or is it just going to be hand-waved as like, ooh, she's just obsessed. Hee hee. Still enjoying my mace. Let's play a little bit more spear here. If I remember rightly, this was a good choice. I'm not sure about the Warclaw Cub. Feels alright. Oh, sorry, there's another goddamn thing over there. Ah, the range wasn't good enough. My little hope there was that either I would just be in range, or it would bounce a strike, like when you're playing Rev. But no, of course not. Boy's arrow is still throwing those big webs around. Fuma roller again over there. I kind of want to fight all of them, since they're new. There also might be an achievement for killing them all. You know what is a fundamental, like a baseline cool idea that ArenaNet could have been doing for years? I mean, ever since Season 2, when they started putting achievements in missions, they should have just had, like, Vanquish as a thing. Every story instance, there's a Vanquish. It's like, kill everything, and then just filter mobs and stuff around. I know it sounds really tacky and small, but I would enjoy that.
More pages ahead.
Carrying needed supplies on foot is heavy enough. Who drags along their weight in paperwork?
A researcher. Obsessed. Huh. Interesting.
Maybe she, like, magics them along, you know? Wingardium Leviosa. Titan spawn, we're surrounded. Weapons ready.
Can't finish a damn thought without these things interrupting.
I'm alright with that. Things to hit, things to kill. This is already, by the way, much better than FF. I think I've just unlocked a new appreciation for Guild Wars having actual combat as a part of its fucking story. Because, oh my god. Just having some buttons to press. Instead of just relentlessly press F on this guy, press F on this guy, press F on this guy.
That's all of them.
Curious how ESO does it.
As I was
Swotor.
saying, They're field notes on spawn emitting steam and sulfur, characteristic of Ura.
Aligns with Farah's work. If she's documented them, I'd suppose she's met them. But is she equipped to defend herself?
Oh, what if we find her and she's dead? It's rare to see a Priory scholar who's also skilled in combat.
Best we get to her before any more spawn do.
Is it? That's a shame. Farah? Hold on, we're almost there. She's there. Find Farah. So, by the way, so Ura could be like steam and sulfur? Let's not forget as well, this whole sulfur, green, golden shit. This could have a lot to do with Janthir Syntri. Not Janthir Syntri, Balanisos. In particular, I want to pay attention to this weird reflective light and goo going up these trees. It's kind of cool that we're getting a whole patch here and the city doesn't feel... Like, the city is what this is all building to, right? I hope it's going to be awesome. You're sad there isn't do X events on a map just to piss people off? I mean, I don't know. I don't think Arena need to pay much mind to that. They get pissed off with press X on X vistas, you know. Well, here she is. She's alive.
No!
Bale Seeker. Farah Bale Seeker. What the fuck? Like Bale Fire? Oh, because she was Flame Legion. That's cool as fuck. Is she going to talk to me about Geherin? Oh my god, if Geherin has something to do in this story, obviously he's dead. But if there's any Geherin relevance, let me put it that way. Whatever happened with that whole resurrection story in COF? Like, there was straight up resurrection in that, wasn't there? That's what Balefire was trying to do. We had to stop his ritual. Should be all of them? Are you hurt, Farah?
I'm fine. It's my study that's ruined. You killed my specimens.
What? Well,
you were cornered. What was your exit plan? Paper cut them to death?
It's called observation. Just because you see something doesn't mean you have to kill it, you know.
Yeah, go on, Alphanod, get in there. Force a habit, sorry.
Regardless, going in these wilds alone is a fool's move, as is not telling anyone you're here.
Gix was so concerned he asked us to track you down, and Sestina is worried sick.
Worried wyverns, those two. Figured I'd be back before they noticed. Guess it has been a few days. Well, since you're here, I've got a job you might like. Puts all that aggression to use. Follow me.
What's this job, exactly?
Testing a theory. So, those spawn I was observing, I'm certain they're Urus. But for now, take a look around. We're not far from the sulfur baths, but notice the difference?
Smells less like a rotten egg in a smelting oven.
True, the air is fresher and clearer. Don't see any steam, do you?
Nothing to cloud up the sun. You've been charting weather patterns here. Why?
To keep track of him.
Him? Sorry, what am I missing here? I want to stop moving and just reflect on this, but I don't know if she's going to start speaking as soon as she stands still. And I don't even really know when I can go off on a rant. Oh, maybe she stopped? Alright, okay, let me reread this. So first of all, in chat, the Eternal Flame. Cottage said, we saw the Eternal Flame being reused as a model for Primordus' Lay Siphon. But we don't know if it's lazy reuse or a Lorhin. Oh my god, you're right. They did reuse that. That would be amazing if that was on purpose. I get the sense that as bad as Dragonstorm was, I get the sense there was a lot more meaning in there that they just wish they could have imparted. You know, like, it's not a coincidence they set it at Anvil Rock and it was a broken Anvil Rock. Clearly there was an idea there to actually talk about Anvil Rock and have that as the finale and the Great Dwarf and all that. That would have been amazing, right? So I'm inclined to believe that might have been... Or maybe it was a reuse. I don't know. Alright, so yeah, and these guys here, what do they say? Since you're here, I've got a job you might like. I'm testing a theory. The spawn I was observing, I'm certain that they're Urus. But for now, just take a look around. We're not far from the sulfur baths, but no, the difference. This is cool. As a player, I would just expect, oh, this is just game engine stuff. You know, you travel from one biome to another, and it's very radical and it's very big. That happened to me a lot, like when I was playing Horizon, both Horizon 1 and Horizon 2. It's like that, you know. It's just because you're playing a video game. But no, look. We're not far from the sulfur baths, but it's much nicer here. Nothing to cloud out the sun. You've been charting weather patterns here? Why? And she says to keep track of him. I'm not sure we know who him is right now. Greer, possibly?
I've been watching him since I arrived. Each day, he ventures further out, expanding his territory.
What? Who? What?
But the moment the rain clears, he scurries back to the baths.
You've been studying the storms. Your note says you seem to think they bolster the Titan's power.
Appreciate you keeping up on my work. Now you can help me test that very theory. And better we do so with the spawn before we face its progenitor. He's large enough to approximate Ura, physically and biologically. But he's weaker. We learn him, we learn Ura.
Who?
We came to rescue her from danger, and here she is, ready to toss us right into it.
But she does have a point. If we're going to kill Ura, we need our strategy set beforehand. So there's another just big old Titan
Knew
around.
You'd see reason. You get ready. I'll get in place for observation.
By the way, so this is just a big old Titan spawn champion. Was I supposed to have seen it in the background wandering around during that scene? And that's why no one was questioning. By the way, I'm actually impressed. This is Instance 2, and it's not just a wraparound to climb Mount Barrier. It's its own thing. So I guess in this event, chapters meant instances. We'll get 3 of these, and then it ends with Mount Barrier. In which case, that's better than I thought it was going to be. Elite vent shot. Is this the thing? I guess so. Wow, look at it. Now I saw that there's a mini vent shot.
Some questions for my research.
Oh, cool!
Just answer.
That was cool. So hold on, he lifts himself up, and then you break the brake bar and you knock him back down. That's not just new model, but there's mechanics there as well. A lot of what I said earlier about Greer and Decima being the bosses over and over and over again matters less when you've got shit like this. Getting CC spammed. Let's get our elite up. Yeah, CC me through that stuff. Really? Okay, I'll rank it as a 5, a 6, and a 1. I'm not really taking any damage now.
Describe any changes in him. Weaker attacks, loss of stamina.
Well, he's got this buff.
Putting up less
Rising,
resistance.
rising presence.
Seems he's losing stamina.
Exactly what I wanted to hear.
So the weaker he is, the weaker he is. Also, that thing when he rose up, it's not a brake bar mechanic. It's just something he's doing. But still, that's cool. So he's using, like, water and steamy things? This must be Ura's shit. Oh, but he's gaining buffs. Oh. Timely takedown. Defeat him within the time limit. What? I spent half that time literally standing there waiting for dialogue to roll. Alright. Oh my god.
This is going right to the Priory library for display.
How are you so cheery about all of this? Doesn't it piss you off? What these things did to us? To everyone?
They're fascinating beings.
Oh, yeah.
Powerful, mysterious, on a scale all their own, and perfectly indifferent to us.
I like her.
What use is moral outrage toward creatures with no concept of morals?
That's why it's okay to crush
That
bugs,
does certainly
guys.
put it into perspective.
Maybe. It makes sense. I don't like it, but it makes
Oh
sense.
my god, there was major clipping
Well,
there.
I'd say the weather made an obvious difference in the spawn's strength.
So if we can confront Ura during a break in the storm, we may have a chance.
Well, Well, we'll need to scope out her
I've
lair.
noticed a high concentration of Titan spawn at the base
Love
of Mount
this.
Valrior since I arrived.
Then there's a good chance Ura is hiding at the top and having her spawn guard the place. We may have some luck on the timing of this. Before we left, I caught word of a storm report from the ward. They're predicting a break in the storms within the next few days. If they're right, we'll need to act fast.
Let's aim for the day after tomorrow, but no later. That'll give us time to prepare and get word out.
Malice and I will head to Lion's Arch and inform the Alliance.
I'll go tell Pa. He'll want time to call a council meeting.
That leaves the Astral Ward. I'll make my way to the tower now. Okay, so there we go. Our adventure to climb the mountain to find Ura. See, I've been suspecting Ura might be the final boss at the top of the mountain. There was so much I wanted to talk about there. Oh yeah, the crushing bugs thing. Actually, guys, I don't crush bugs IRL. I'll tell you why as well. Right, like, I'm agnostic or atheist, whatever. Practically doesn't really make much difference about your life, right? I don't really believe in a higher power. However, I like to think if there was one, right? If there is something of a higher echelon that would look at me like a bug, right? Oh, come on! Guild Wars, why? Why? What is it? You press M and it just triggers something to fucking attack you. That thing wasn't even standing anywhere near me! You were nowhere near me! Attack it, Wayfinder 2. Kill this fucking thing. Oh, if you guys have audio loud enough there, you will have heard, right as I clicked, the fucking smash sound effect. Right, I like to think if there was a higher power, okay, it would be nice enough to not kill the bugs, because I don't want to randomly get blipped out. I don't want to randomly get squished out of existence, you know, in whatever way. So, to believe that a higher power than me has the capacity for mercy and thoughtfulness to a lower being, to believe in that, I need to embody it myself, right? As far as an ant's concerned, I'm a god. So as long as I prove in this natural universe, in this way of life, that not all gods crush ants, as long as I demonstrate that that's a thing, then there's a chance anything higher than me is the same, thus increasing my chances of survival. So I never kill spiders, I never kill bugs, you know. It's to save my own skin. There you go. And look, you obviously there's lots of people kill bugs. You can only do your bit, you know. Isn't this like a Rick and Morty episode with the mini universes? I don't know. It's something I got in my head. It's so stupid to say out loud, but it is fucking dumb. All right, I know it's dumb, but it's just a silly little thing I got in my head probably when I was like 11 years old, and I've just always lived like that now. All right, so trial and error. Well, I'm a bit nervous though. Is this the end? So is it 1, 2, 3 convergence? You show no mercy towards ticks and other parasites. They hurt me, I hurt them. Yeah, but they're not. There's no malice. There's malice in what you're doing. There's no malice in what they're doing. And I think that that's wrong. I don't think that's right. There's an imbalance there, you know. That's like you could get snuffed out by a god just living your life. It might be that you go into the toilet hurts it in some way. You don't know. It's your nature. It's your way of being. You weren't deliberately upsetting a god by going to the toilet, but you weren't to know. Just as a tick isn't to know. It's just doing what it does. There's no malice, so you shouldn't respond with malice to things that were not malicious. So I would still not hurt a tick or whatever if I can help it. I mean, I've definitely had times where like a bug's been on me and I've slapped wherever it was, and then it's like, oh, whoops, or I've stood on a snail or something, you know. But as best as you can, all right. All right, let's not get too serious about it. I'm not that serious about this philosophy. Ticks, wasps, and flies are on your dead list. Well, there you go. And look, obviously, you know, sometimes hunting is the ethical thing to do because, you know, ecosystems are getting overwhelmed by too many deer and all that kind of shit. Don't get me wrong. Whether we should turn that into sports or hobbies for bored people with, you know, rifles, I don't know whether that's right. But yeah. Anyway.
I had to act. My people were in danger.
Oh,
I couldn't
shit.
abandon them again.
Irony so rich I could gild the tesseract.
I didn't even...
It.
Well, okay, hold on. We're on. We get more waiting sorrow in his Garen. Okay, guys, here we go. All right, here's the question. Was I wrong in my interpretation that the story is kind of whitewashing waiting sorrow and making her the sort of spurned, her innocent little victim in this, and in rewriting Isgaren as an egotistical, hot-headed moron, right? That's how I think that they've been they're phrasing it all now. I don't think they justified it by the writing at all, but that's what the angle they want to go with. And so it seemed pretty obvious. All the little quips, even when Isgaren's not in the instance, people are doing little quips at his expense in this expansion. So here's the question: is that continuing, or have they reined back on that? Not that, by the way, and again, let's be very clear as well, this patch, they won't have had much time to reorient this patch since launch. It's only been a matter of weeks, guys, since launch. Whatever we're playing here was probably in the oven, you know, back when Nyos was coming out, right? When Secrets of the Obscure was ending. So I don't think that, one, I'm not arrogant enough to think they'd course correct due to me, or anyone that feels like me. And two, I don't think they would have had time anyway. So whatever's happening here, I wouldn't view as a course correction. I would just view it as I was wrong about where the emphasis is. So what do I hope when we go through this door? I hope that it's a real tete-a-tete, you know? I hope there's some real honest arguments on either side. I hope it's messy. I hope there's not really a villain here. I hope it's a bit tricky, and I hope that, you know, we're something of a stabilizing force. I want to see these people act like immortals, not teenagers. That was another thing as well. People are like, oh, but they're family. Family get on each other's nerves. Yeah, stop talking to me as like a fucking puny little human that's lived maybe 30 years and doesn't get on with your mum or whatever, all right? They're immortal. They've lived thousands of years. I'm not having it. They would be a bit more high-minded, all right? They would be a bit more disconnected. So I want to see them act that way. But yeah, I don't want to see one person just being an obnoxious dickhead with this. So, here we go. So, we eavesdrop. Waiting Sorrow said, I had to act. My people were in danger. I couldn't abandon them again. And then Isgaren says, irony so rich I could gild the Tesseract with it. It is ironic, because she's abandoning the Wizard's Tower by doing that. Right? These people needed you. I do blame her partly for Mabon's death. I do. They're weaker without her. She took the gifts that she was given, and she didn't even have a conversation about it. There was a really good line in this expansion, a beautiful line, a really good bit, where ArenaNet basically said, not ArenaNet, one of the journals said, Isgaren was like writing in his journal, he's like, am I so difficult to talk to that you just have to run off? Am I such a fucking monster? Why not come to me, right? And I think that was really good, that he was hurt by, like, obviously anyone rational and normal would have talked about this. You wouldn't have ran off in the night with all this power and done nothing and said nothing. And even after things were resolved, even after shit was sorted out, she still stayed and just bummed around and wandered around there. Unbelievable. And the story hasn't attacked that at all yet. So anyway, and then finally I'm wondering, what the hell is the Tesseract? What is that? Is that some kind of big... I mean, obviously it sounds a bit like Tesseract. Some kind of infinitesimally powerful structure. It's not the place we were inside in the Wizard's Vault before, was it? It's not what the key takes us to. Oh, the key's on the other... Oh, look, even the packed flowers inventory is a mess. Sorry. Sorry, guys. Look, this is like inviting someone into your home. Oh my god, I have a lot of identified gear. You got to identify a few pieces for the weekly, and I just went gathering more. I didn't realize I could have just swapped onto her. It's like inviting someone into your home, and it's a complete mess, and you're just furiously, like, trying to fix things up. All right, sorry, here we go. Through the door. Let's do it.
We're in the middle of something. Are you oblivious or just dead?
Okay. It's me!
Oh, thank the stars.
It's me, your favorite! Oh, yeah, of course, because we're on Waiting Sorrow's side, so she loves... Oh, was that... Who was that speaking? Dagda? Oh, it was Dagda, sorry. Hello, Dagda.
Quickly. I can't stand it any longer. They've been arguing for days. Literal days.
Okay.
I'm trying to have a discussion. But it's oft derailed by my interlocutor's perpetual outbursts.
Okay.
A discussion? That's what you called that tirade of yours earlier? Think they heard you in the Shiver Peaks.
Go address the room. If you don't have a report, make something up. Before they get a second wind.
Fortunately, I have some some news. We located Farrar, the missing researcher in Janthir Syntri. She was conducting some extracurricular studies on Ura's spawn and the bolstering effects of the mist tides. While there, she volunteered us to test this theory by battling one of Ura's greater spawn. And sure enough, as soon as the storm cleared, the spawn weakened significantly.
See, Ren? Those storms are off. You don't need to be from the Isles to sense that.
I've been on that train of thought from the start. Why do you think I had the ward tracking them in the first place?
Malice told us your predictions for the storms breaking these next couple of days. We can use that to our advantage. We'll use today and tomorrow to get our preparations in order. The following day we'll strike. That's the plan.
So it is. I'll call together a meeting to inform the ward. We'll return to our discussion later.
Don't rush on our accounts.
See, what's with the snide quip there? This thing of Isgaran shouting, people heard in the Shiver Peaks. They're doing this thing a lot where they're like talking about him being a hothead and angry and all this, but we've never actually seen it. There was that was the late account of him in the Foundry. I'll lock you in the domain of anguish or whatever, but we didn't actually hear it. It was just him reflecting on it having happened. There we didn't hear him shout. There was another thing about him shouting and getting angry. We don't really see it. In the story journal of the final instance talked about him like he was shouting and angry, but he wasn't really in the instance. Again, because they probably cut a fight out between the two of them. That's my guess there. I mean, this was alright. I mean, we didn't get much out of it. I'm wondering, I like that we're in a weird place with the story where it's like we're in this negative space where it's like, how much do the Wizards Court know? And they're just withholding from us? And now it might break down and it turns out they don't really know anything. And they're not really doing anything. They're just shouting at each other for days and days and days, which all seems a bit petty and not very cool. But, you know, this is amazing, by the way, this globe. With the ley lines on it. Is that a really old asset? Alright, so, Dagda, what do you think? What's going on?
Finally. Thought we'd never get a moment's peace. Not with that old gas bag.
It's like they all hate him. I mean, why are they an organization?
You got caught in the middle of this. Years of pent-up rage just waiting to be unleashed on me. Now we get to witness it in real time.
I haven't witnessed that yet. The battle should keep him occupied for a while. Oh, the commander's taking their side.
I should get back to Harvest Den. Need to help Alder with preparations.
Perfect. I'm excited to finally see it. You can catch me up along the way.
At least let me give you the obligatory, you don't have to come if you don't want to.
Noted. And ignored.
Well, that's settled. Wayfinder, you keep an eye out for mail. You should be receiving something from Alder soon.
I don't like this thing of how chill and happy and relaxed they are as well. If it's not a sincere argument, then what the fuck is it? They're acting like children. You know, if it was a real argument and they really had things to debate about and there were real emotions, they were really upset with one another, she would be rattled right now. He would be rattled right now. But they all just sort of walk off and leave like it's inconsequential, or isn't that guy an old gas bag? I don't know, man. I don't know. And I know we can imagine she's feeling it, but it's the job of the fucking dialogue to at least hint of it a little bit. It's like they just completely dismiss anything he thinks or feels, and he's just a twat. But, you know, it's that thing as well where it's like, well, look, if she's telling me there's rage of years and years of rage and upset. Rage, is it? Is it? Then I guess I have to take that as a fact. Stoic Orders mailed me. Feast of Battle's Eve invitation. It is with a disquieted heart that I declare my new Battle's Eve is upon us. Few moons have passed since we last gathered for such an occasion. While our prior bravery and sacrifice were repaid in victory, I'm afraid we've no time to rest on our laurels. We do, however, have time enough to feast before we heed battle's call, and so I invite you to join our little bearkin for an eve of food, drink, and dance. Let us prepare for tomorrow by celebrating the joys of today. Guys, this is a 4th instant. Oh, very impressed with it. This is not as short as I thought it'd be. This is 4 instants at least. We had the Priory. I know there hasn't been combat in all of them, but I'm not a believer that you have to have a fuck ton of combat. It's nice to have it. We had the Priory one. We had the one we just did. We had the one with combat in Janthir. And now it sounds like we're going to go have another one before we're even at the Convergence. So they're calling it 3 chapters, but they've done a disservice to themselves there, I think. What we got here? A large stash of carved lowland pine coins. Get another mastery point, which we can spend, of course. It's actually useful on adept handiworker crafting. And I've got enough points. I really need to get the secretly obscure one done. Right. We can go to Harvest Den. Well, oh, hold on. How far into this do you guys think I am? This might be a good point for us to take a break. Maybe if I split it here, in the next episode, we can do the last of the story in the Convergence. That might be a nice, nice sort of 50-50. Because what I'm thinking, guys, is I don't want it to be like we do 4 hours on this episode and then like half an hour on the next one because it's a single Convergence. They said it's a 20-minute story thing. So maybe this is the best part to actually stop Battle's Eve. Isgaran also feels like a 16-year-old, 100 or so. I think yes, but I think less so because there's a lot of there's a lot of tell don't show. They keep telling me he's this, they keep telling me he's that, and I don't get to see it much. But I mean, if we take it all as truth and as real, then yeah. We're about 60% done. Oh, that's good. Okay, guys, I'm going to stop this episode here then. Listen, guys, I will be back in 2 days. Right here, right now, same place, same time, in 2 days. We'll do the Convergence. I'll sort out this whole raid thing as well in the meantime. And we'll finish the story then. I'll also do a premiere, so it should be very easy to see when the next episode's going up. You won't have to count the timing or anything. You'll be able to see it very easily. You can also check me out on Discord. I'll be posting when we're going on there. I've got an announcements channel that I really need to just use. You do Battle's Eve first so that the setup is there for next time, since there'll no doubt be downtime. What do you mean downtime? Oh, with like waiting for the Convergence? That's fine. We can just talk about other things. We can do other things. It's really not a problem. I don't mind. I don't mind that at all. So yeah. The storytelling is just kind of sloppy with Isgaran and Waiting Sorrow. Yeah, look, I don't know whether I've cultivated a bit too much of an echo chamber because I argue back if people disagree. Look, if people think that it's going really well with the Isgaran and Waiting Sorrow stuff and it's really clicking with you, let me know that as well. I'm curious to see. Thanks for any of your comments on this one, guys. Thanks to those of you who caught me live. I'd love people to treat this as a regular YouTube video. Feel free to use the comments down below. I will be reading them. I will be watching them. You know, if you don't mind, I haven't mentioned this once in about, God, what, 70 hours of streaming here. But if you're going to like the video, that would be very nice as well. Thank you, everybody, for watching, and I'll see you on the next part. Looks like it'll be a 2-parter then, this patch. Maybe 3 if I can squeeze out. So hold on, is there a quest in the Wizard's Vault? There's not, right? There's not a Meteor Spear quest. There was just that instance we went to. I say just that instance. I mean, it was pretty cool. Like, if there was a quest, it would be up here at the top, wouldn't it? We could buy the Rot Stalker stuff. Weekly doesn't reset for a while, so I might not be able to. Well, there you go. Thank you, guys. Oh, have I answered a super chat about Sotor? No, I missed it. Did I get some kind of donation or big chat or something? It's not even on my screen. It's not... Oh, maybe I can... fan funding. Yeah, hold on. Holy shit, I did miss some stuff. I'm sorry. Rojo Brandon with $2. Thank you very much. Do I have a favourite Coden in Janthir, they ask. I hope you're still here, Rojo Brandon. Do I have a favourite Coden? Stoic Order, maybe? He was pretty cool, actually. I quite liked him. Bit slow and plot. There's not much edge to him, or much to dig into, is there? But he's quite cool. I really like the Star-Crossed Lovers Coden story as well. But that's just the story in general, the Romeo and Juliet kind of nature of the story. I don't know whether that really quite counts. I'm not the biggest fan of Waiting Sorrow yet. I mean, we'll see what they reveal about her and the deeper history and stuff. I mean, okay, I like the story. I don't necessarily like the character. Let me put it that way. Yeah. Zrone with $10. Thank you. This is the one. Thanks very much for that, Zrone. I hope you're still there. I've been slowly catching up on the member videos, and I'd love to see a SWTOR Let's Play, being a huge Star Wars fan. So would I join the light side with the Jedi or the dark side with the Sith? I don't know what I'd do. I don't know. I do like the idea. You have to understand, though, I'm a loser when it comes... I don't know Star Wars very well, basically. I know some stuff. I'm not a big Star Wars nerd. So it might be unbelievably frustrating. I know how these things go, you know. You step into a nerd fandom or whatever, and there's people that are already there, and they feel very angry if it's, like, not perfect or it's not. So I don't know. I like the idea of playing the game, though. It's like another huge release. Just like ARR, it's another huge release that came out right around the time of Guild Wars 2, and I missed it. I didn't play 14, and I didn't play SWTOR, and they're like the two big launches from then. A couple of years after that, you have Elder Scrolls Online, and then you have more modern stuff like New World, I guess. But yeah, I do like the idea. It's very cool to hear someone say they'd be a fan of that. With all this shit, it just depends. Will you watch it? Will there be an active chat? Will people actually be there and talking and typing and being happy? And if they will, you know, I'm happy. I don't want to be so risk-averse. I'd like to try shit like that out. Obviously, we're in the middle of a bunch of other stuff. So yeah, thank you again, guys. Thank you for the super chats. Thanks for coming to join me here today, guys. I won't bag it down too long. I'll see you in the next part very soon. If you're watching off in the future, remember there's a playlist, and it will just roll you video to video to video, all in order. Star Wars fandom's destroyed, though. Nothing left to offend. I mean, I care so little for Star Wars. When one of the new movies came out, I watched it and was just like, yeah, it's another 6 out of 10 popcorn flick, whatever. I was, like, vaguely entertained by it, and it was okay. That was how I took it, and then I went online, and people were, like, freaking out, you know? Because they had all these lore expectations, and I didn't have any of them, you know. And I got to see sort of on the other side of the looking glass, you know. If you treat the product very casually and relaxedly, you just kind of enjoy a bunch of casino scenes or whatever, and it's like, oh, whatever. But if you get too into it, now you have aspirations and hopes, and you'll get crushed. Trekkie tries SWTOR is a good tagline. I mean, I don't know whether I'd call myself a Trekkie anyway. I only really like one era. I don't like TOS. I haven't really tried the new stuff. All right, guys, I'm rambling here. Thank you very much. Thanks, guys. See you next time. Take care. Bye-bye. Let's wave. And we'll see where it goes.